say if you can't beat them, join them. And that's exactly what Ipswich Town did when it came to their nickname. The term Tractor Boys used to be chanted by their opponents as a way of putting the team down for their farming background. But during one game back in the late 90s, Ipswich were 1-0 up and they decided to flip the script. 1-0 to the Tractor Boys, they sang, and a new nickname was born. Let's head to Leicester, famous for more than just a red, well, orangey cheese and Jamie Vardy. Leicestershire is also the birthplace of fox hunting, hence the Foxes. Next up, turns out apples are not the only fruit that don't fall far from the tree. Bournemouth's nickname, the Cherries, comes from the fact the club's stadium was originally built right next to a bunch of cherry orchards. This next story actually involves two club nicknames. It started with Crystal Palace. They were having an absolute nightmare run back in the early 70s. They'd been relegated after a terrible spell and manager Malcolm Allison decided enough was enough. He wanted a new nickname, something strong, fast and destined for success. Something exactly like an eagle. But there's more to this one. Brighton were in search of a nickname too, and Palace finally gave them what they needed. In a heated match between the two back in 1976, Palace fans began chanting, "Eagles, Eagles." And some clever Brighton fans came up with the perfect reply, "Seagulls, Seagulls." Not all club nicknames have a crazy story though. Take the Gunners. That just comes from the fact a group of munitions workers in the Royal Arsenal factory in Woolwich set up the club in 1886. On the flip side, some nicknames seem simple, but there's a bit more to them. Like West Ham. The Hammers is actually nothing to do with the ham part of the name. It comes from the fact the club used to be called Thames Ironworks FC and was made up of workmen and shipbuilders.
Hello and welcome to the Final Word with me, Majestic, alongside the legendary Premier League gaffer, Pardew. On today's show, we're getting stuck into the biggest transfer stories, including, could Bruno Guimaraes be moving south to Arsenal? And in the Premier League, going to be dancing to the samba beat with the Gunners exploring a new move for Brazilian sensation Vinny Jr. We'll also be talking about other London clubs splashing the transfer cash, and we're going to be joined by two managers who are enjoying their pre-seasons. Wrexham's manager Phil Parkinson and Bromley boss Andy Woodman will be joining us on the show. But as always, it's all about you and your opinions. So 03717 223344 to air your views to the nations. On the Final Word with Imagine Pards here on talkSPORT. That's right. Imagine Pards back together Sunday. We're getting ever closer to our normal time.
Yeah.
Which means we're getting ever closer to the new season, Pards.
Well, exactly. We've been shifted around a bit. We've separated for various shows. I did an hour here and an hour there and, a bit here.
I'm going to call us the Mainu and Ollie Watkins of talkSPORT. Heavily underused in the World Cup.
Oh, official.
official titles.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about the World Cup because, of course, 7 days ago, I was in Spain. I was in Ibiza watching Spain and Tottenham lift the World Cup. Pedro Porro.
What was was it good, the atmosphere?
Oh, mate, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I was going around calling myself El Majo.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
El Majo's here, and I was just like, loving it. There was flares, the cars going past, pouring out Airbus, which is the traditional drink.
Okay. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, Airbus. It's a very much Ibiza shot. It was brilliant. Spain, winners of the World Cup 2026. My prediction was France. Yours was?
Spain, I said, and France. That's the two I went for.
Yeah.
So I kind of hedged my bets a little bit. But I actually thought once as the tournament evolved, I really thought France were the best team after watching, their forward line. But Spain dealt with them, didn't they?
Yeah.
In no uncertain manner.
Clinical.
How to suppress a great offensive line. There's your lesson.
Yeah, just a great team in general.
Shame about the final, wasn't it? Because obviously they got sort of wrapped up in that kind of confrontational kind of mode that they were in Argentina, and it spilled over into an ugly game, which was a shame because, you want that showcase to go out there. I mean, we know
like we got with France and Argentina in the previous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And obviously America being perhaps the one big continent that needs breaking. I know football is broken.
I gotta say, it was the greatest World Cup that people have seen.
Well, of course.
Forget Mexico and Canada. They had nothing to do with it. It was the Americans. We've done a great World Cup. I think you should do it every single time here. This is the talkSPORT final word with Magic Pars back together again after the World Cup. So look, you know, of course, we've had 7 days to reflect and 10 days since the semi-final against Argentina. We've not been on air since then together. Lots of talk with Thomas Tuchel. I wanted to just talk to you quickly about it. We've not even really spoken off air about it, about Thomas Tuchel from a manager's perspective, because he come into obviously a lot of criticism from our colleagues here at talkSPORT.
Well, no, across the board.
Across the board.
Yeah.
You've been doing a lot of golf lately, and I know you see players and managers on those golf courses.
Correct.
What is the overriding?
We always have a little secret chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like like the Traitors, that program with the hoods up.
Yeah.
That's what I imagine in the golf course. That's where the LMA meet.
Steve, what did you think? Stevie Cole, what did you think?
Yeah. So what is the overall feeling of England's progression at the World Cup?
Well, I genuinely felt that we never really got going.
No. We did against France first half.
You could argue,
France weren't playing, were they?
Oh, that game was it was irrelevant because there was no, they was on definitely Le Sulk mode, France, and when they're like that, they weren't even closing us down. So they forget about that game. We really didn't really pull as well as I thought we was going to pull. We were going to pull hard at this tournament, with some real kind of outstanding displays, but we didn't. And obviously the game that we went out to Argentina, where we got into a negative mode, and unfortunately Thomas fed the negative mode with his substitutions and didn't really trying to change the dynamic. And really, as a manager, that's a cardinal sin in my book. If I was a manager on the sideline looking at that, I would be asking the question of, why didn't you try and change the mode? But anyway, I think the one disappointment for me personally, and when I spoke to other colleagues, in the professional colleagues, I think everyone was quite angry. Really, I don't think disappointed was the word I would use.
I was angry.
It was an anger, wasn't it? It was just
anger.
like, why did why? And I think a lot of people have not really come to terms with it even now. I was speaking to a few people last night, not generally professional people, but a few friends who were like, well, it's going to take me a long time to get over that.
Yeah. I think, just coming from a fan's perspective, I think one person, ironically, that comes out of the World Cup 2026 England campaign with more credit is Gareth Southgate. Because, we've seen this criticism that he come under, and, people said that he's not an elite manager because he wouldn't take the risk at the right time. He did go and change games positively when you look back at the last tournaments that we was in, like when backs against the wall, we needed to change something. Some could say that in certain, because like you said, England never got going.
I mean, can you imagine if Gareth was the manager and did that?
Oh,
I mean, he would. I mean, it would have just been like the outpouring would have been unbelievable. But Thomas has got away with it. I was a little bit disappointed in that he didn't really hold his hands up and say, "Well, look, okay." In reflection, I probably would have done the same thing again. But in hindsight, with what happened, maybe I should have put more legs on, a more offensive player to give us an out ball, etc., etc. That's something that when I consider it now, maybe. But he didn't, and I think the big sports journalists won't let him forget that. I think they'll come for him later on in his career as England manager. That won't get forgotten.
Well, this is the thing now, and I said before the tournament, didn't I? I said, if we're going to have a, supposed gun for hire, this is the man that's going to win you the World Cup. The one thing is, he's not English, he's German. And of course, there's a lot of history of England and Germany, etc., blah, blah, blah. And he's supposed to go and be the one that's going to be brave. He's going to make the decision.
And the contract initially was for this tournament.
Exactly. And I all the way up until that semi-final and those last 20 minutes, I think he did things right in terms of he got the subs right. That whole display against Mexico was really good in terms of it was backs against the wall. The backs against the wall stuff he done so well. And then that moment where Argentina are against the ropes and you don't go, you know what, they're rocked here. And we've done what, Someone put up I think it was on TikTok or something, and I saw the minutes and the goals. Like Kieran Trippier scored first. You know, in the World Cup, in the Euros, sorry, at Wembley, Luke Shaw scored after 2 minutes. All these things, you know, the fact that Anthony Gordon scored first, and then we don't get through these moments. It's like you said, it's hurtful, it's painful, and for me, I don't know about you. I'll get your take first. Thomas Tuchel, should he still have the England job? Yes or no?
Well, I think because I'm a football manager, my gut feeling is when you make errors and when you make major errors, because you get remembered. There's a lot of games go by. You make errors in games, but they're forgotten because they're, you know, league games and they're sort of in the mix of it. But when you come into big games, cup finals, semi-finals, finals, etc., you are remembered for them moments. And you have to reflect on those and think, that won't happen again. And I like to think that he's bright enough, which I think he is, to actually come out of this with a philosophy that I won't ever let that happen again. So I think, yes, I think he might be armed better next time in. I like to think he should have been armed this time with the amount of money that we're paying him and the contract that he initially had. It'd have been interesting if he hadn't signed that new contract, what the FA would have done in hindsight now. Yeah. Because I don't think, I think the actual semi-final performance was disappointing. I don't care what level of manager you are.
Yeah, but this is the thing for me. And again, he's been paid great money to make the difficult decisions at the difficult moments, being what we all thought was an elite manager. Thomas Tuchel's a great manager still. There's no taking that away from him whatsoever. But you come in on the premise of, and the fact of the matter is, what you've said and what you haven't said affects it. You know, that interview, ironically, with Gabriel Clark, where he asks, oh, did England have a pattern of play that you could see last summer? No. They look like a team that were trying to stay in the tournament. And then you do that, but worse. For me, Thomas Tuchel has to go. Because I would like to, again, if we're going to look at models and we're going to look who's done the best in recent times, you look at Spain and what it's about. It's been grown from within. And ironically, Gareth was that guy, and he did so.
And he came through the under-21 system.
Exactly.
And through the FA system.
Yeah, he came through the FA system. He got so close. One thing I do want to say is I want to doff my cap because, of course, with hindsight, of course, the disappointment is there. But third place, we got that bronze medal, best we've done in 60 years. And as you know yourself, you mentioned that, the people that have come through the system. Now, one of Thomas Tuchel's coaches, Justin Cochran, I mentioned it before in the show, someone I knew as a kid growing up in North London. He was at QPR early doors as a player, and he did his thing, but he's worked his way up every single level of coaching.
Yeah.
And, you know...
And that's why I have a problem with Thomas as manager, because not that I, as I say, I'm for him in, but the English system, the English way, the personalities that we know so well, and the system of the FA coaching badges, the LMA coaching badges, and every other coaching badge that is organised in England. Very, very good, by the way. And you have such a huge amount of people going through that system, and yet the guy at the head of it has had nothing, has never really been a part of that process. For me, that's wrong. It should be Eddie Howe. It should be an Englishman who's been through our system, knows exactly what the British mentality is, knows the history of past failures, of where we've got too negative at times. And you may argue that the British player, the English player, because of the pressure of maybe 1966, we get negative, and that we need to change that. And that would be the forefront, I should think, of I'm hoping for Thomas in the next tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, you know, there's been some real positives coming out of World Cup, and as I mentioned, people like Justin, to see someone go from being in Edmonton, North London, and I was playing at Norseman, to...
And do you know what I think in this first World Cup? I mean, I see like a lot of the nationals did marks for players, and they were like 6s and 7s. But actually, when you talk to people on the street, and all the people that I've spoke to, the players haven't really got a mention. There's no one like, oh, he was rubbish, he was at fault, because in the past they did.
There's been players.
They got hammered, the players, and they carried it into the next tournament. You know, like the disappointments of their performances. This time, I think it's been a little bit like, the players were okay. It's more or less been dumped on Thomas to a degree.
And is that fair, do you think?
I don't think it's completely fair, because I think, you know, a few performances on the pitch, particularly in that semi-final, could have been a lot better. for sure.
But then that's where the bravery comes in, because you know me. Listen, I love Harry Kane. Yeah,
Love Harry Kane.
and he's a world-class striker. But another game where he become ineffective because we're playing a very good team, great defense. Romero was superb. You know, the Argentinian defense was actually good that night. You know, should he have been brave and go, look, Harry, 55 minutes, after we scored that goal, Harry off, Ollie Watkins on, they look leggy, let's get him in. You know, that's where the brave decisions are made, no?
Yeah, I think that's a criticism that I would share about that semi-final for sure.
And that takes bravery to sub your captain, right?
I mean, you know,
you've had to do that surely in big games.
of course, and they never like it.
Of course they don't.
You know, you're
They're
taking
elite
off a star
players.
player. I remember taking off Teddy Sheringham, and Teddy Sheringham was like 38 at the time. He's still like angry as you like.
You don't take
know.
Teddy off.
Yeah,
Don't take Teddy off.
furious. But it was better for the team to get some legs on the team and some energy around that. I mean, Harry ended up in that last sort of 8-9 minutes becoming a sort of number 10, sort of jogging between centre backs to put a bit of pressure on, and a central midfield player. Come on.
Yeah. Disappointing. What do you think? Thomas Tuchel in or out? I know it's 7 days. You probably feel like we've absolutely rinsed out that subject, but it's the first time me and Pards have been back on air. And you can ask a manager's perspective, because Pards has been there and done that in big games and had to make decisions that, you know, this is where you're paid the big bucks to be the top managers, because you make those decisions. Coming up next as well, we're going to be speaking about one of the former clubs that Pards, of course, managed, Newcastle. So Newcastle fans, get ready to come speak to your old gaffer about what's happening at St James's Park. And, of course, England fans as well, 7 days after the World Cup final.
Are you still angry?
Are you still angry? What's the reflection be? Because you've got to take the emotion out. Like, we've seen, like, you know, I know Jamie still feels the same way, obviously, but Jamie was, Jason, Gabby, everyone's been very emotional, because it really felt like an opportunity for England here. Whether or not we would have got past Spain, who knows? But to have had that final, and the Argentinians, I know Roy Keane's definitely like, they were the better team, etc. They were there for the taking, 100%.
Yep.
03717 223344. Your Sundays are back. It's Madge and Pards.
I think United want to move on. He's obviously on a hefty wage. I'm amazed Saudi haven't come in. I'm amazed he hasn't gone out to Saudi.
I think he won it.
Well, again, Saudi pay a lot more than 300 grand a week for a player obviously who's playing for England and still in his prime. Yeah. I'm very surprised Barcelona didn't do the deal. But then again, I expected him to do well at Barcelona. Most, you know, average wingers would do well out there, the team they have. I don't know where he goes. If you were a Spurs, would you go for him?
That's the one that keeps nagging away in the back of my mind.
We'll take him for a loan.
Yeah.
And if he plays 23 games, you know what I mean, we'll obviously pay this fee and that fee. What United are going to have to probably end up doing is recuperating as much of that fee back and all the loan fees they've had the last 2 seasons and the next 2 seasons. So I'm thinking Spurs. They've got a few more experienced Premier League players they've signed.
And De Zerbi's the type of manager that feels he can.
I'm not sure
he feels he can fix players.
I'm not sure he'd put up.
What a great record. What a great band. The Police. What's it called, Pards?
What do you mean?
Message in the Ball.
Sorry, what are you talking about? I used to love this song. When it came out, it was massive. #1 for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was brilliant. And obviously he was the main man Sting at that time.
Difficult guitar piece to play this.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
He has very long hands, the guitarist from The Police. So his riffs, he's very good at getting like from the 3rd fret to the 7th fret.
Oh my God, that's gone right over my head. But
But you know when you look at a guitar,
like a piano player.
Yes,
needs to
correct.
like that span, don't you?
The span.
Span.
The span indeed.
Ah,
And we are spanning across the footballing nations today.
God, love that. What a
On talkSPORT, because of course we're going to be speaking about the pre-seasons coming up as we approach another Massive season of football, and of course, talkSPORT will have you covered across all of the leagues. Lots of you getting involved as well in our conversation about England. Completely agree with Majestic. Tuchel has to go. Semi-final decisions, unforgivable. Everyone could see what was going to happen behind the ball for 30 minutes plus. We ended the tournament going out with Dan Burn up front. Considering all the wealth of talent we have was embarrassing. That's from Steph, the Man United fan.
Steph.
Madge, you're on the money, Mush. Tuchel has to go, but this doesn't pay Southgate dividends. They're both not good enough. I spent 10 grand following us in the USA and Mexico. We were massively under par. Let's go get Pep before we can't. That's from Ashman in Hartford. Tuchel out, yeah. It seems to be everyone's angry still, Pards.
Yeah, it does surprise me. I mean, no matter what level you're at of knowledge of football, if you're a 14-year-old and you watched all the Premier League last year, you'll have an opinion, and your opinion will be pretty much the same
Well, my son's
as a
9.
professional.
My son's 9, and he's screaming at the telly, get Ollie Watkins on.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see. Like, they were, do you know what, the first half was a real battle, and they set the stall out they were going to be nasty, and we done that, and I felt we dealt with that really well.
Yeah.
I felt no one really reacted. Even Jude was getting pulled in, and he was able to calm himself. I just think that we just missed that trick, and then you can't allow Lionel Messi to dictate a football game, because what happens ends up happening, and we saw it, and that's where it's upsetting for me. I want to ask you, in terms of, though, is there times where you'll direct your players to do things and they'll do the opposite? Does that happen?
Yeah, it does happen. And sometimes...
because that's what, sometimes I tried to give him a bit of credit and go, well, maybe he didn't ask them to sit deep and they just couldn't get out.
Yeah. I think sometimes you can try and change it offensively and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
For example, like you can put a wide player on and suddenly it weakens the stability of the team. So there is that worry when you put an offensive player on. But I thought that the signs were so obvious in that game that something needed to be done, that we just didn't have any kind of outball. And it was that 12-minute period where we had like 3 passes and they were all long. Pickford was one of them to strike to a kick to Harry Kane or something. I mean, it just wasn't acceptable. I didn't think and that's why we still going to carry this anger, and it won't go away. Don't think like everyone's going to be calming down in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, 2 months' time. Everyone will have that memory.
Yeah.
The Mexico memory will stick there. That's good because that was a great performance, and we showed real British qualities to win that game.
Yeah.
In the Argentinian game, we showed the opposite to the British qualities of we have, and got too negative about ourselves.
Another great message here from Steve in Shrewsbury. He says, Tuchel didn't learn. Egypt were 2-0 up against Argentina and took off their 2 strikers. Argentina scored 3 in 15 minutes. Spain scored against tournament's favourite France and kept pressing, scoring a second. And in 1998, 10-man England held Argentina at 2-2 for over an hour. Hoddle kept both Shearer and Owen on the pitch. Tuchel didn't learn and doesn't want to. And I think that's the frustration, is his kind of, his attitude afterwards, kind of like...
I've said to you, that's where I think he's going to have a problem going forward with the British public and with the British media.
I think the British public and the media even can actually be quite, forgiving when the people come out, and it was unforgiving at times, but when people come out and admit their faults.
Correct, they are. It's a British trait.
It is, isn't it? It's like, come on, tell me.
Trait.
Tell me you did wrong, and you're like, yeah, it was. I messed up.
Yeah, and that's. I think he would have. The anger, the kind of the ick, or whatever you want to call it, with him would have helped.
I just want a sorry. Just say sorry.
You don't got to say sorry. Just say, look. In hindsight, maybe I could have done something different.
Yeah.
That's all he needed to say. And I've had to say it. I've had to say it in games because, I've been in that position, done negative substitutions, cost myself games. And at the end of the game, sometimes it depends on where you are on the dial, right? If you are really done well, right, and then you have a game where you made a couple of substitutions and it hasn't worked out and it's cost you the game, you can hold your hands up because you got a lot of credit in the bank.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? And I think Thomas had enough credit in the bank with the Mexico game in particular to go, maybe I could have done something different in hindsight. At the time, though, in that fog of war, when it was all kicking off, the clarity in my brain wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
Right? And that can happen to anyone. It'll happen to Pep. And it can. That is actually true. I don't give a monkey's what manager you're talking about. that can happen to you in the fog of war.
Craig, the Man City fan, says, I wouldn't be calling for Thomas Tuchel to be sacked. At no point did I ever think England would win the World Cup. Total overreaction, in my opinion. If you sack Tuchel, who would you bring in? Pep won't take it so soon after leaving City. You know what is with me, Craig, and I've said it before the World Cup, if you do not win the World Cup, which you've been brought in to do, then you need to go. Because that was it. Now I can reset and go, okay, we didn't win the World Cup. Let's build. They're not going to like it. Go get Eddie Howe. The Newcastle fans are going to hate me for saying it, but because we're going to be talking about Newcastle in a moment's time. That's how I feel now. I feel like let's have a reset. Let's have a look at what we've learned from that tournament, because there were some really promising things. For example, Jude Bellingham was the star of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
And, you know, for me, he is the future England captain.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I also have you know, people say, oh, Thomas managed his situation really well and got the best out of him. I'm so sure about that. I think, you know, he's just a great player. Yeah. He was always going to be a great player.
He's a great player whether you're there or not.
Yeah, it was, you know, it didn't take a lot to work him out. And you have to have a firm hand, I think, with Jude a little bit as a manager, because, you know, he's a headstrong kind of character. But that's the sort of players that can win your tournaments. And he definitely showed that ability, didn't he? And got in a World Cup team, right?
Yeah, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
I think the people that come out that World Cup with their stock risen, Jed Spence massively.
Well, a surprise to me, obviously. I was like, not sure about Jed there.
No, I've seen that in him. He's got the glimpses of being amazing. You know,
it's good things. It was at fault for the goal, though, by the way.
Yeah. The cross.
You know, if someone said to me, right, in the 93rd minute, Lionel Messi will take 2 Premier League players down the side of the pitch and get a crossing for the winning goal, one of them being Jed Spence, the quickest player in the Premier League, I would have gone no chance.
But wasn't that off the back of him actually standing on Jed's foot or near it, like he hurt himself? You're not having it.
Not really.
But yeah, Jed Spence, Jude Bellingham, they really come out probably the two.
Yeah, I thought John Stones had a good tournament, personally.
Hasn't got a club still.
He hasn't got a club. Although I'm guessing he's probably got 3 contracts on the table of various Premier League clubs he could sign for right now.
Oh, here you go. Johnny, the Huddersfield fans, got involved. Why doesn't anyone talk about the foul on Jed Spence? The second goal shouldn't have even stood. Now, I've seen pictures of this, and then some people said it's AI. I need to watch it in real time. There was definitely he hurt himself in that build up to that goal that you're talking about. So who knows? But the phone lines are now open. It's 03717 223344. And the way that talkSPORT works is when you call us, you dictate what's going on. Yeah, what do you want to talk about? That's what we're going to talk about.
And then we'll give you our best answer we can possibly give.
And you're probably sick of hearing mine and Pardew's voice already. Jill's not. Jill's listening.
Is she?
Jill's listening. She said, I've got my Sundays back. So a comfort blanket this show.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you, Jill. And Al, the Arsenal fans with us as well. Ash, the Newcastle fan.
I had a few nice messages about the show on the old golf tour.
Oh, it's nice to hear.
Summer.
So yeah, lots of our Sunday regulars are with us. And if you are new, if you're I love a first-time caller. They often call our show because we walk people through nice and easy. So come and join us. 03717 223344. Next up, we will be talking about Newcastle and their summer transfer business. And you know what, Pards?
Go on.
You're listening to the final word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas.
Ah, Sky Vegas.
It all starts with a spin. 18+. Gamblingaware.org.
About Tottenham here. It's a big conversation because obviously it's about trophy wins, European Cups, all of those sort of things come into it. But in the modern world, it also comes down to support base. Money is so much involved, and Spurs are a big club, full stop. Of course, we're above someone like West Ham. We have got more support.
He had you above West Ham
globally. Well, I know, but he was almost fighting with that. You could also look at a support point of view globally. We would make Chelsea look tiny. They have had more recent success. Facts, they've had more success. But we also got to think about Tottenham history. First team to do a domestic double. First team to win the European Cup. We have history that can't be ignored in the same way that like
sorry,
Aston Villa.
Without being pedantic, people will be shouting at the radio, European Cup, not the European Cup.
A European Cup, yes, apologies.
That's all right.
And I think that history is important. It really, really is. And I don't want to sound like I'm banging on about the past. We know what we've been. I'm a realistic Tottenham fan. I've seen it. Arsenal are a big club. Hate saying it, they're a big club. Bigger than us. I've got to say that as well, and that's going to upset people.
Rich, could you do me a favour then? You rate them 1 to 4 first.
It'll have to be Arsenal.
Okay.
Gives me the up, but there you go.
Then who?
Is it Sting's birthday today or something?
Nice.
Oh, the Newcastle connection.
Oh, cool.
You are listening to the Final Word phone in here on talkSPORT with Maj and Pards. That's me, Majestic, and him, Premier League legend.
Well, if we're going for Newcastle musicians, etc.
Jimmy Nell?
Brian Ferry.
Brian Ferry, yeah. Did you fancy Crocodile Shoes by Jimmy Nell?
Well, it's not my favourite.
What about Fog is a Time by Gaza?
I like that song.
Fog is a Time is on mine.
Right now, mate.
Fog is a Time is on mine. Love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're listening to the Final Word. The phone lines are now open on 03717
Gaza.
223344. James from London says Thomas Tuchel was brought in to win the World Cup. His decisions cost us a place in the final, not the players. People are angry. We've poked the bear this afternoon.
Told you. It's the feedback I've got everywhere I've gone. Where I've gone to races, or I've gone to golf, or I've gone to down a pub or a restaurant. Same feedback. People ask me what did Alan? What was he doing? I don't even have to answer. I don't even answer. They just tell me.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how angry they are.
You just shake your head and
I just go,
Right, let's talk about your former club, Newcastle, because it's now more pain.
Well, painful at the moment. Let's put it that way.
Well, we talked about this midfield of Newcastle's being probably the best in the Premier League. We looked at it
2 years ago.
2 years ago,
Yeah.
And with Anthony Gordon gone to Barcelona for 70 mil.
Surprised.
Good money, though.
Yeah. Still surprised.
Sandro Tonali going to Tottenham for 100 mil. Great money.
Great money. Great player. Great signing for Spurs.
And Trippier out on a free. You know, big players for Newcastle over the last few years.
Trippier's big character in the dressing room. So that'll be a massive loss.
And now, speaking of big characters, big players, Bruno G. Arsenal are set to accelerate talks for Newcastle captain Bruno Guimaraes in the next week with the hope of striking an agreement before the month is out. talkSPORT understands. Newcastle insist formal talks are yet to begin, but talkSPORT understands verbal discussions are ongoing, with Newcastle senior leadership now directly involved. Arsenal are prepared to pay north of 70 million, while Guimaraes has already agreed broad terms, as talkSPORT revealed earlier this month. What do you make of this, Pards?
Well, firstly, you know, he's a great player. There's no doubt about that. And I would suggest, if you was talking to a Newcastle fan, probably their favourite player in terms of the character and rolling up his sleeves, digging them out of holes, getting great goals, fantastic technique, you know, all those attributes that Newcastle fans love about a particular player. So it'll be a massive loss to them. I think his love is gone. I can't see him staying there and being the same player. So I think it is going to be a question of as much money as possible. I think that's where I think the Newcastle board will sit.
So if Bruno goes to Arsenal, right, you've got Gabriel there, you've got Jesus, you've got Bruno. Now this talk of Vinny Jr. going to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Does that look like an even more tempting proposition for a young man to come to the Premier League when he's got a few players around him that he knows?
I think this is a deal that will happen. And the reason I think is because he's got history with Mourinho. He's at Real Madrid. He's a year left his contract. They've been trying to get him to sign a new deal for a long time now.
Oh, yeah, that thing that happened in the Champions League with Mourinho.
Correct.
Right.
Right. So
that plays a massive part, doesn't it?
Yeah, and when you think about the other side of the coin, the new champions of the Premier League, you're in London. You're not in Newcastle. You're not in Manchester. You're in London. You're playing for the champions, Arsenal. We'll put you in a house in Regent's Park. You can fly in and fly out your family at will because you'll have enough finance to do it. I think it's a tempting proposition.
Don't pause, mate.
So
don't. Vinny Jr. to Arsenal.
And the other thing you've got to remember is the weak link of Arsenal's team is wide left, where Martinelli, who is now gone, right, and Eze hasn't really filled that. It's not really his role anyway. I think...
mate, Saka on the right and Vinny Jr. on the left. Bruno in the middle with Rice. Oh, my goodness. You might as well just give Arsenal the league for the next 7 years.
Well, I think they're in a position, I said to you at the back end of last year, if there's one thing I would do as an Arsenal manager now, is go massive on a one individual, like a real top talent like this Vicious Jr. Because everything else is there, isn't it? The stability of the team, the goalkeeper, the midfield, it's all there. All they need to do is have that one player who, when it's 0-0 at 87 minutes at the Emirates and goes jinks past two and curls it in the top corner. Now, Saka did it maybe more so a couple of years ago than he did last year, but they need somebody who can do it from the left. He's the man.
Vinny Jr.
So that's a done deal on my book. I think that's going to happen. More so than Guimaraes. I think that's their number one target and probably has been for a while.
Well, Arsenal fans, you're involved in this as well as Newcastle fans now. 03717 223344. How likely is it that Vinny comes to the Premier League to Arsenal? And in terms of transfers to the Premier League, that's got to be up there with possibly the biggest name to come to the Premier League in terms of their current stature, and where they are right now.
I also think that you have to understand now, in the modern world, and you know perhaps more about this than I do, Vinicius Jr., if he wanted to kind of really grow his social media platform, right? And, let's be honest, people are getting 30 million, 25 million. I don't know how many hits he has at the moment in social media, but to go to Arsenal, I'm guessing would grow it again. He's obviously going to have the Real Madrid. He's done that. So he's already got them following him. This will be a whole branch out for him. So you can't underestimate the financial impact of that, actually.
Well, he's got 64 million followers
already.
So
that's not bad. Not bad, is
considering
it? I would guess that would.
You don't get much bigger than Real Madrid.
But if you're the big player in the Premier League, the biggest player, he will be the biggest player in the Premier League, won't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he'd be the biggest star in the Premier League if he comes.
Yeah.
Because we are actually missing a few star players. When you looked at the World Cup, like Bellingham and Harry Kane, they're not here.
Yeah, it's true.
And Messi, he's not here, so he will be the biggest player in the Premier League. So you're talking about a massive uplift for him as well. Personally, to be the biggest player in the Premier League and the biggest league in the world would gain him massively on the social media front too.
Yes, it's great points and. Loads of messages coming in on 81018, and of course don't forget you can WhatsApp us on 03717 223344. But like Stuart, who's an Arsenal fan, you can call us on that number. Let's speak to Stuart. Good afternoon, Stu.
Good afternoon, chaps. How we doing?
Are you excited hearing Pardew saying Vinny Jr. to Arsenal? That's a done deal.
Do you know what? I spoke to one of your producers before you said about Vinny, and God, I hope we get him. But I just think he's just going to sign for Real Madrid. I think he's driving up the price to go on par with Mbappe. I'd love to get him over the line. But for me, out of the two, I'd rather get Bruno. If we're going to do one statement signing, go and get Bruno. Simply because poor old Declan, he looks shattered, mate. I would give him a month off, go and get Bruno. And the boy Dalman's coming through. I'm more worried about the midfield. Wide left, I would have kept Trossard for another year. If we can get Vinny over the line, especially you boys down the road, I mean, you've made some cracking signings, but this is next level.
This is statement. Like, I don't think we've seen anything like this in the Premier League really, truly for the last 10 plus years. Like, this is, you know, will be talked about around the world. This will bring eyes on the Premier League. I'm sure that the Premier League itself would love Arsenal to sign Vinny Jr. because of the eyes internationally. As we just said, 64 million followers on Instagram already, being at Real Madrid, Brazilian main man.
Can I just say that they probably have the room to do both?
Well, financially.
And financially, we have got it. We definitely got it.
And of course, I know you mentioned Martinelli. Martinelli's still at Arsenal at the moment. So that's another possible
I think he's going to go, though.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you know something we don't. And that's why he really said he's gone. Now, look at you laughing to yourself. This guy's got the inside scoop. Yeah, it's interesting that you go for Bruno over Vinny. I think, obviously, if you book Bruno...
Because I think we need him more, mate. I really do. I just think Deck needs a month off. He looks shattered, mate.
No, he might need more than a month, I think. He might be that first half of the season, you might not see the best of him. And he's going to need a big recovery. Everybody told me that he was really poorly. You know, and when you're flat, when you're down, as we all know, you know, when your recovery levels are not kicking in, then you get kind of cold, you get this, you get strains, it all starts coming on top of you. I mean, interestingly for Arsenal, will be Dowman's role, won't it, next year? What is he going to be? Is he going to be 20 appearances? I mean, if I was the manager, I would be giving him a goal of like 30 appearances, but, you know, it's still what is he, 17? He's still such a baby. Yeah.
Les, can I just say something that no one's discussed yet? No one's come on and no one's discussed it in the press about Saliba. I mean, they're talking 6-8 weeks out minimum. Now, I know we got Gabriel, we got Ben White who can step across. I've heard no centre-halves coming in, and I think that's as bad as losing Deck. I mean, Saliba, they reckon minimum 6-8 weeks.
Yeah, it was bad. It seemed like a bit of a bad injury. I think, you know, especially starting the season as defending champions, you want to start strong, don't you? You don't want to be playing catch up at all. So I'm with you on that. But
Pepe can play there, can't he?
I tell you what wouldn't be a bad option for Arsenal, Stu, and I wonder what you think of this, Pards. He ain't got a club. John Stones. Cover.
I think John Stones, from what I see in the World Cup, I mean, you have to factor in that, okay, you maximum will be 20 appearances, right?
Yeah.
But the influence he has in the dressing room, he's a cracking lad, they tell me. You know, like he's proper in
that little thing with him and Declan Rice on the shoulder and all that.
It was nice,
Stu, would you consider someone like John Stones to come in as
100%
literally for cover?
It just all stacks in their favour. He's won the Champions League. He's won the Premier League. Experience in the training room with the young lads we're bringing in. 100%. If Saliba's out for 3 months, he can step straight in. And pay him the money. We'll get him on a decent rate. 100%. I just think he's tick all the way.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That'd be a great signing. Stu, thank you so much for your call, mate. Stu, the Arsenal fan there, who actually would prefer to see Bruno at Arsenal ahead of Vinny Jr. So, I hear what he's saying. He's thinking about the midfield and giving Declan
he makes a valid point, but I disagree in terms of the impact that the player of those two players, which one I would have all day long, and that would be Vinicius Jr. for sure.
I got a message here said someone tell Pardew about Haaland in terms of the popularity in the Premier League.
Okay, well, yeah, I still think Vinicius Jr. comes in
and takes him over.
We'll be on a level par.
He's 10 million followers behind on Instagram. Haaland is very popular.
Haaland's 10 million behind.
No, Haaland's 10 million above him.
Is he?
74 mil.
I mean, I have to say, you know, in my household, he was the star of the World Cup. Like, particularly because I've got females in my house, 2 daughters and a wife, obviously. So, you know, he was like the man. Yeah. They loved him.
Haaland
and he's gone down well in America, hasn't he?
Yeah, big time. Yeah. Haaland has more followers than the Premier League itself.
Really? Yeah. Does he? Brilliant.
Goal scoring machine. But again, it was interesting when we played against them. He didn't really do much, did he?
No, we did a good job on him.
Yeah.
We did a good job. And they're two different, very vastly different players. I mean, Vinicius Jr. will get you out your seat. Yeah. Like, you never know. And I mean, Haaland gets you out the seat when he smashes the bat in the back of the net.
Yeah, big time.
He ain't going to go past 2 and nutmeg somebody and spin someone up. That's not what he does.
Well, Pards, it's only 4:45 on a Sunday afternoon, and it feels like
we're just getting going.
We're just getting going. We're revved up. The texts are coming in.
Arsenal are going to win the league again. We've already signed 2 or 3 players for them that they ain't even got, and we've sold someone from them.
Hang on. I've just done Arsenal's recruitment. Listen, I reckon Arsenal's recruitment and listening now going, John Stones, great idea, man.
Let's get Magin. Let's get Magin.
03717 223344. Newcastle fans, has this been a terrible summer so far? We've not even told you what Pards has noticed about your incoming so far. We're going to tell you after the short pause. And Arsenal fans, do you want Bruno or Vinny? Or do you want both, you champions, you? 03717 223344. You're happy now, Pards, aren't you?
Yeah. Good song, this one.
Better you this, I can see. I can imagine you driving along to this one. It's quite cool. It's got Pards written all over it.
There was a lot of when he come out with the old suit, you know, that sort of big sort of shoulders and the tie. When you went to a club, everybody, there was always a Brian Ferry in there, lookalike, you know, trying to do the Brian Ferry one. Wasn't me, but there was always one.
You are listening to the Final Word phone here at talkSPORT with me, Majestic, and Premier League legendary manager, Mr. Alan Pardew. Right, we've spoken about football, international football and Premier League football already. We're going to be speaking to Andy Woodman, the Bromley manager. He's got a massive season ahead of him later on in the show.
Going for his third promotion.
Wow. And someone who's used to promotions as well as another friend of the show.
Phil Parkinson, who's had 4 promotions.
Yeah.
Incredible. Maybe their promotions eating up the leagues. These boys.
Maybe their promotions will rub on us, and we'll get right.
But let me tell you something. Interestingly, is that why I think they're great people to speak to, particularly in off-season period, is the transfer window, because they are right down the levels of getting in to signings. So basically, you know, the big guns move first, then the middle guns, and then the lower Premiership guys, then the Championship, and then that you know, Park is in that one, the Championship one, lower level Prem, and Wood is in that one, 2 levels below that, which is Championship, League One, he's little League Two, League One transfer window, and that is all moving as well at the same time. You don't hear about that so much, but that window is moving. You know, players are, you know, you can go and get the captain of Plymouth, for example, on a free and blah. You know, all that kind of trading. So it'll be interesting to see how they're getting on.
It's like playing Football Manager all over again.
Yeah, brilliant.
Right, the summer. talkSPORT is your home for the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, with live action across the talkSPORT network, including from 7 o'clock this evening with the one and only Natalie Sawyer and Olympic gold medalist Greg Rutherford. Very good.
Oh,
and the action is well underway. So
he's a big fella, by the way.
He is. The action is well underway. So let's get the latest from talkSPORT's Michael Weedock.
Yeah, Scotland's first ever gold medalist here in the men's all-around gymnastics at the International Arena. The medal went to Reuben Ward, celebrated his 21st birthday last week. He held his nerve while some of his key rivals made errors. Canada's Felix Dulcie won the silver, a mistake on the pommel horse costing him the gold. Ward narrowly missed out on a medal in the team event earlier in the championships. Still has individual floor and pommel horse finals to come. He watched the 2014 games here in Glasgow from the stands as a youngster. It's Scotland's third gold of the games. Elsewhere, at the Hydro in netball, England have lost heavily to reigning champions Australia. They went down 66 points to 47. In boxing, there's been last 16 victories for England's Ellis Trowbridge and Lauren Mackey, as well as Wales's Helen Jones. At the pool, we saw Adam Ramsey PT back in action this morning. He's qualified in the men's 50 metres breaststrokes to the semi-finals. Also there, Jersey's Philip Nowacki, who beat him last night over 100 metres. Beat him, of course, to that silver medal. We've got 9 gold medals up for grabs tonight at Tollcross in the swimming and the para-swimming. Look out for Alice Ty and Luke Greenbank of England, and Harrod Evans and Katie Shanahan of Scotland. And Chad Leclos could win a record-equalling 20th Commonwealth Games career medal in the men's 100 metres butterfly final. Commonwealth Games live with Natalie Sawyer and Greg Rutherford on the talkSPORT network from 7.
Commonwealth Games update on talkSPORT with the BYD Atto 2 DMI, the intelligent compact SUV with advanced plug-in hybrid technology.
Brilliant stuff there. And of course, from 7 o'clock straight after us, a whole live show of it on the Commonwealth Games. Gold for Scotland there. I think we need to play my new version of Spandau Ballet's Gold, didn't we?
Well, I love that track. Yeah. I don't know where that's gone. We need to dig it out.
Yeah, we'll get that on.
You get a royalty if we play it. You get like 28 pence or something.
Well,
how does it work?
If only.
Oh, okay. Why don't you get a royalty?
That's a whole other show about how the music royalties work.
Oh, okay. Okay. We can do that one hour when we got a spare hour.
Sunday bedtime routine with a cheeky earbud in. It's going to be so much better now. Imagine Pards are back. Get in. That's from Krista Barrett. Very nice.
Ah, very nice.
Thank you to our regular listeners who are back with us here on a Sunday afternoon. I do believe we're back, as Jamie O'Hara would say, like Spurs.
Yeah, we've settled in. Back.
Right. Speaking of coming back, Newcastle. They're in a difficult
rebuild.
Yeah, it's a rebuild.
Let's call it officially a rebuild.
It's officially a rebuild. So let's go over to a Newcastle fan because Andrew joins us. Good afternoon, Andrew.
Hi, are you all right?
Yeah, not bad at all. How are you feeling about this off-season for Newcastle, mate, with some of these exits?
First of all, I just want to take advantage of Alan being on. I think that Alan, that front three that you put together of Demba Ba, Cisse and Hatton Ben Arthur, wow, what a front three that was.
Yeah, weren't bad, were they?
Nah.
Yeah. No, good lads. Yeah. Well, I don't say it was all good lads because I did have a few issues with, a certain one of those, as we know.
Yeah. I was going to say just keeping Hatton Ben Arthur playing is probably credit to you, to be fair.
Yeah, he was difficult. I mean, the thing that was really, really sort of hard to talk about with Hatton is that whenever I see people, particularly for the French fans, they loved Hatton Ben Arthur like crazy, like some Newcastle fans did too. And he was a really great guy. He just had moments where he just let himself down with the team and the coaching staff. It's a shame. He just had that sort of thing in him, which is just the way. But there you go. Andrew, what are you thinking at the minute with the team? What's happening?
I do think that, look, don't get us wrong. Do I want Bruno to go? No, absolutely not. Is he the best player? Yes. The whole team's almost built around him. However, we've been in, I think for me, the biggest thing that we've got to do if he does go, the most important asset we've got and we've had for 3 or 4 years is Eddie Howe. I think we have to pull, if he goes, we have to pull all the stops out to keep Eddie. I know that Madge was talking about him going to England, and that's how good he is. And I think Newcastle fans forget about that because last season wasn't great. But if he does go, we'll have to back Eddie Howe. If Eddie Howe leaves, I think we're in deep, deep, deep trouble.
Yeah, I think he's been brilliant for you. I was looking at the transfers that you've had in. You've spent 130 million, and you actually haven't signed anyone over 21. Which makes me wonder whether Eddie's kind of hamstrung a little bit with the board wanting to buy young.
Andrew, and I don't want to put fear into you here, right? When Spurs bought Archie Gray and Bergvall and that, Pards, with his knowledge, said that those signings are signings for the future. They worry me. That doesn't look like a team that's going for top 4 or even top 6, you said. And for 2 years, where has Spurs been in the Premier League?
Well, that is where I was going, if I'm honest. It just worries me a little bit whether he's been given a model here of trying to feed his ego. Look, Eddie, we're going to give you these young players. You'll make them great. Da, da, da. I hope that's not going to be the whole picture, because obviously we're very early into the window. But so far, you bought a 20-year-old, a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, and another 20-year-old.
So between them, they haven't even got 200 games.
Correct.
And the Newcastle press are obviously always behind Eddie Howe. They're saying that it's the Borussia Dortmund model, which is fine. But if you take players out, like they already have, Tonali, etc., but if you take someone out, Guimaraes, who them players going to learn off? And you can't even go and buy, and I'm not saying, you can't even go and buy like good players like Adam Wharton, the midfielder at Bournemouth, because all the top teams are after them. It'd be really hard to get in a plug and play player to replace them. That's the issue.
And the thing is as well, like even with Bruno, you know, Tonali as well, you're not getting massive profits on these players. You know, they're not like they were homegrown players and then you're getting 100 mil. It's 30s and 40 mils that you're getting for, because you spent a fair whack on Gordon, Tonali and Bruno. And it's like, it must frustrate you, Andrew, because, you know, it feels like, and I really like Newcastle. I think most people do. That's why they was named the entertainers and we'll talk about Kev, God bless him, R.I.P. Kevin. Yeah. We're going to talk about Mr. Keegan, of course, during the show. But, you know, you were so close then and you went 2 steps forward and it felt like you went backwards. With Pards, it felt like you went forward and then backwards again. I just feel like from the outside looking in, you can tell me because you're the Newcastle fan. Does it sometimes feel like that with Newcastle? You'll step forward and then for some reason it's another few steps backwards.
As Alan will protest, Newcastle is an absolute, it's like EastEnders, it's an absolute soap of a club. It's honestly so up and down. But I do think, I'm not going to sit and whinge about, you know, Pip and all the rest of it, but, you know, Aston Villa are in trouble. The last club that done was Leicester. That was in the Champions League. Obviously, they won the league. So I think it's just almost becoming impossible for teams outside the top 6 to hold a sustained challenge.
Is the Newcastle situation parts the location? Because it's an amazing club. The stadium's brilliant. Yeah. You know, the fan base, they've got, like we talked to Andrew, I love the Geordie fans. We had them on when they won the cup.
There's nothing wrong with the location and the training ground and the ground. There's nothing to stop them being champions of England, right?
What about the desire to live in
hold on.
East of England?
They cannot be champions unless the next Premier League meeting they change the rules. Because at the moment, the rules are just cast in iron that the top 5 or 6 clubs, you can't catch them. Aston Villa are proving that right now. They're about to get rid of Rodgers. I mean, why would you sell Rodgers? If
of course.
You know, why? So they have had to, because, you know, to fit into the UEFA rules. So it's that UEFA competition. 70% of your income has got to be on is the maximum, etc., on the wages and transfers. So it's a problem. It holds you back, and it's very, very difficult to undo it. And I think what's happened at Newcastle, this is what I fear has happened. Right? Take Eddie Howe out of the equation. They have an enormous funds at that football club. They can't use those funds, right? So you're the owner. You've been told you can't go and buy Vinicius Jr. You can't go and buy Rodgers, right? You just can't, because you're in this financial hole. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do then. If I can't do that, I'm just going to buy young players and trade them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happened.
It does look that way.
That's what it looks like.
But again, as Andrew just said, you know, some of the best of
and that's going to be hard for Eddie Howe to try and replace Tonali, Gordon, Trippier with young players to suddenly go to them with 200 games between them to go, come on in, son, you got to give me 50, 55 quality games. That's good luck with that.
But I almost feel like, and the team that Eddie assembled that won that Carabao Cup and got into the Champions League, etc., almost feels a bit like what Spurs were with Pochettino, with the side that didn't win anything, but was an incredible side that ended up disbanding eventually.
Yeah.
And we've had to wait this long for the funds now to be available because we had the whole stadium thing and all that kind of stuff. It's like Aston Villa are doing it in terms of they're improving their ground. They've got the SI warehouse there as well. You know, they're finding ways to
is
make
Andrew
revenue.
still there?
Yeah. Oh, no, I think we lost him.
Oh, that's a shame, because I wanted to ask him, I wonder where Newcastle are with maybe a new stadium or a rejig of the stadium again, you know, because that would help, obviously, to get more funds in. One of the problems you have at Newcastle is the corporate sales, i.e. boxes, the big money sales that you get in London, for example, you cannot get in Newcastle.
But that's what I meant by location.
That is a problem.
Yeah.
That is a problem. And also, it can't match Manchester or Liverpool, actually,
Correct.
Liverpool and Everton. So when you are selling a box in Newcastle, I don't care how good the team is, you're not getting the same financial reward as you would in Liverpool, Manchester or London. That is true.
Good points. Coming up next, we're going to go through our list of top legends who moved to the Premier League. And where would Vinicius Jr. fit into that list if he was to come to Arsenal in the Premier League?
Hypothetically.
And we're taking more of your calls, and we will be talking to you on your calls on 03717 223344. You listen to the final word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. It all starts with a spin.
Sky Vegas.
18 plus, gamblerware.org.
I think that was the key with Matheus Fernandes as well. They walked away from that deal, obviously went to Tottenham for 85 million, A, because they thought the price was a bit excessive, but B, they never really got the impression the player was fully invested in the project. And I think they only want people who want to play for Manchester United. You look at Matheus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo last summer, they had offers from elsewhere, could have been playing Champions League football. They both made it abundantly clear from the start they wanted this move to Old Trafford, and that's the type of character you want in the dressing room.
Absolutely.
Here's a dilemma for you. Would you sell... Bear in mind, they need some money. They need money.
If you're going to say Bruno Fernandes, the answer is no chance. Would you sell him,
Bruno Fernandes, at
no chance.
32?
No.
Would you not cash in 100 million?
21 assists last season. Wears the captain's armband. Been the best player by a country mile since Sir Alex Ferguson left the club. Absolutely brainless to
listen
even
to this one
now.
Then. This assist business, I don't get it.
No?
No, I don't get it. Because I asked Jamie O'Hara the other night, how many assists did you get in your career? He went, I don't know. I said, yeah, because no one ever told you, and we never counted them. So I said, the assists depend on who you're playing with. So, for example, if Harry Maguire robs the ball off a centre forward...
From the Toffees to the Tractor Boys, the Eagles to the Seagulls, Gunners, Bees, Hammers and Magpies, Premier League teams have got a load of crazy nicknames. Ever wondered where they came from? Let's start with Everton. They're dubbed the Toffees, but why? Well, because when the club was formed, just down the road there were two local toffee shops. Ye Ancient Everton Toffee House and Mother Noblet's Toffee Shop were big fan favourites. Next, they say if you can't beat 'em, join 'em, and that's exactly what Ipswich Town did when it came to their nickname. The term Tractor Boys used to be chanted by their opponents as a way of putting the team down for their farming background. But during one game back in the late 90s, Ipswich were 1-0 up and they decided to flip the script. 1-0 to the Tractor Boys, they sang, and a new nickname was born. Let's head to Leicester, famous for more than just a red, orangey cheese and Jamie Vardy. Leicestershire's also the birthplace of fox hunting, hence the Foxes. Next up, turns out apples are not the only fruit that don't fall far from the tree. Bournemouth's nickname, the Cherries, comes from the fact the club's stadium was originally built right next to a bunch of cherry orchards. This next story actually involves two club nicknames. It started with Crystal Palace. They were having an absolute nightmare run back in the early 70s. They'd been relegated after a terrible spell and manager Malcolm Allison decided enough was enough. He wanted a new nickname, something strong, fast and destined for success. Something exactly like an eagle. But there's more to this one. Brighton were in search of a nickname too, and Palace finally gave them what they needed. In a heated match between the two back in 1976, Palace fans began chanting, "Eagles, Eagles," and some clever Brighton fans came up with the perfect reply, "Seagulls, Seagulls." Not all club nicknames have a crazy story though. Take the Gunners. That just comes from the fact a group of munitions workers in the Royal Arsenal factory in Woolwich set up the club in 1886. On the flip side, some nicknames seem simple, but there's a bit more to them. Like West Ham. The Hammers is actually nothing to do with the ham part of the name. It comes from the fact the club used to be called Thames Ironworks FC and was made up of workmen and shipbuilders. So next time the away end's chanting their crazy nickname, you'll now know exactly where it came from.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave, on DAB, online and on your smart speaker.
There's the full-time whistle.
It's the ultimate fan phone-in.
And that surely settles it.
The final word phone-in with Madge and Pards on talkSPORT.
Good afternoon and welcome to the final word phone-in with me, Majestic, alongside the legendary football gaffer, Alan Pardew. The phone lines are red hot with Bruno and Vinny Jr. in the headlines right now. So keep your calls coming to us about those potential moves. Soon we'll be joined by a man who makes history next season with Bromley in League One for the first time. The gaffer, Mr. Andy Woodman himself, will be on air. Yeah. We'll discuss Rodri and Barcola also in the transfer news. But now pick up the phone on 0371722 3344. It's Madge and Pards, Sunday, talkSPORT. So many messages coming through as well that I'm going to get through during the show. Don't forget 03717 22 3344. Transfers. That's why we've got the Transfer Insider show going on there. You can listen to on talkSPORT and watch as well. And our impressive.
It's one of the most, I would suggest, in pubs and bars or whatever, it's probably the most talked about subject, I would suggest.
Yeah. So
transfers into
So you mentioned the levels, like the Premier League. We're talking about Vinicius Jr., Barcola and Rodri. That's the highest level.
Yes.
Then we're talking like Parky's and what he's going to be doing in the Championship, where he's going for.
You got a Premier League level below that,
yeah,
of course.
Then that next one,
the low level Premier League Championship.
Yeah.
So there are some players who, like, you could argue, are they good enough for the Prem? Are they good enough to get you out of the Championship? Now that particular player might be in Belgium. It might be a £25 million player type. That would be where I'll be sort of looking if you was trying to get out of the Championship or if you was trying to stay in the Premier League. And one of those signings happened just this weekend when Ipswich have taken the boy out from Celtic, beg your pardon, Japanese player, whose name escapes me in a minute, Miedo, or I can't remember how you pronounce it.
I'm sure a Celtic fan will tell us.
Yes. That looks a great signing to me for Ipswich.
Yeah.
High energy, good quality, good technician. So there's that. And then you're in Parky's world, trying to get Wrexham into the Premier League. What sort of budget has he got? He can't match Premier League wages. You know, what package can they put together? What incentives can they put in the contract, for example? If they was to get into the Premier League, you would probably give them an inflated contract.
Yes.
Does that make sense? To take the year in the Championship? And then you got that Championship model of, like, you know, coming up from League One to stay in the Championship, or you struggled last year and then obviously you're down into Andy Woodman's world, where he is like first division players, second division. I don't think he has the capacity to buy a Championship player, but he could loan a Championship player, loan a Premier League young player. So you're still in the sort of marketplace with the big boys in a way, but you can't really play. Do you know what I mean? You're at the side of the table while they got all the chips in front of them. You got like 20 quid's worth of chips, and you got to try and get on the table.
Absolutely, and then you keep dropping down, and there's more. Even in like the lower steps of like non-league football, I'm hearing my friends and that who are managers and stuff. Oh,
even harder there.
That club down there can offer him 100 quid more.
Yeah, that's right.
Literally, and then we're taking it down to something we love on this show, grassroots football. and I've already had some messages about the grassroots on our show. Even there, the trials and tribulations. My phone has been red hot this week on the grassroots football transfer saga.
I remember signing for a Sunday league club because I was only like 16 at the time. The assistant manager took me in a pub and gave me scampi and chips and said, every Sunday you play for us, you get scampi and chips.
Is that what it was?
I was like, wow, this is so impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds weird, but I mean, that was the era.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Again, even like I said, grassroots football teams, it's just like, it's got more drama than transfer deadline day. People saying we're 100% in next year, all of a sudden, Oski.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it's actually probably easier in the Premier League world because you've got contracts. This one, grassroots is your word.
Well, you know, I've seen it at many levels because I've managed and played at all the levels.
But that's why we love the grassroots.
Yeah, exactly, because I've done all that, and I've seen players literally looking a manager in the eye and tell them I'm staying. You know, don't worry, I'll be here, gaffer. And then turn around to me, being what I'm talking about, a fellow player, going, yeah, I'm off, by the way, just let you know. Well, why didn't you tell him? Well, I can't tell him yet. You know, so that does happen.
There you go. Here's a good question for you at any level then. Do you think you should have the common courtesy to let the gaffer know so then his plans or her plans for next season, they know far in advance?
Yeah, well, I would suggest 75% of players at every level are very, very honest about what they're going to do, what they want to do, where they're being kind of, where they're setting their sights, for example. But there is a 30, I would say, I'll call it about 30% where you can't trust at all, that are telling you all sorts of kind of, not quite telling you the exact truth. Let's put it that way.
Not being forthcoming.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's why the transfer saga is so interesting, and of course it goes all the way up to, when's the deadline day this season? Is it been extended because of the World Cup?
That I'm not sure about. We'll have to go to the talkSPORT official camp.
I'll find out the transfer deadline date.
There'll be a 21-year-old analyst in here who knows exactly when it's opening and shutting.
1st of September. So the transfer window runs from the 15th of June to the 11 p.m. on the 1st of September, and no doubt the man with the golden tie, Jim White, will be in this seat alongside Crookie.
Shouting and hollering.
Whoa.
He does shout.
Exciting us.
Yeah, Jim's a large voice.
He's a large character.
Large voice, like intimidating voice.
Oh, listen. It's a commanding voice that when you hear, you think of transfer deadline day. He is the icon of transfer deadline day, Jim White. And of course, you can hear Jim White and Simon Jordan on the network 10 till 1. I'm not sure. I think they're probably on holiday now because they've done a big shift for the last few weeks. But anyway, back to the transfers. The reason why we've gone around the house and talked about transfers from every level is because there's rumours of the Newcastle captain, Bruno G.
Gamares.
Possibly joining his international teammate, Vinny Jr. at Arsenal. Now, Arsenal fans, for those that don't know, I am a Tottenham fan.
I'm pretty sure they know.
Well, you never have.
Listen.
You never have.
If anyone has listened to one of our shows, they will know you're a Tottenham fan.
No, but you don't do assumed knowledge ever. You must explain to people, right? So, anyway, Arsenal fans, if you get those two players, I am not going to Spurs versus Arsenal next season. It'll be horrible.
No, you can't say things like that. You're a proper fan.
I am a proper fan, but
we'll go then.
But how good would Arsenal be next?
Listen,
year?
It doesn't matter. You just
how good.
Listen, you just puff your chest out, take it on the chin.
I'll tell you what.
If you get the 3-0.
Let's hear from an Arsenal fan because Al joins us on the show. Hello, Al.
Hello, lads. How you doing?
Very, very well. Not as good as you if Bruno Ramirez and Vinny Jr. turn up to the Emirates.
Yeah, well, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you both. You know, I text in all the time. The offspring band outside, typical. Yeah, I do text in all the time. I love the show.
We appreciate you.
Thank you. But God bless you. I've got a question for Alan, if that's all right.
Go far away.
Being a previous manager myself, bringing in someone like Vinny Jr. into the club, if the board said to you, look, Alan, we've got the finances, it's been agreed, everything's done, do you want him? To integrate him into a team, with a team like Arsenal, with our work rate, and the players and the attitudes that we have. Could it be another Ozil or an Aubameyang? How do you address it when, yes, I want him, and then you may be upsetting the players because, well, you're going to put some noses out of joint because of, the wage situation. Yes, they can aspire to earn what he earns.
That is probably a bigger problem right there, what you just said.
Yeah, and also, does he speak to the leadership group to help make his decision? I know he's got the Brazilian influence there as well, which hopefully would help the situation. But I've got questions about it.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. When I was West Ham manager, and with about 4 or 5 days left of the window left to go, and Tevez and Mascherano's name were being bounded around in the press.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I had no assumption that they were coming to West Ham. By the way, I had no my sights were definitely elsewhere to balance up our team. And then I got a phone call from our chief executive to say that our potential new owner wanted these 2 players, and that there was an opportunity to come. Mascherano and Tevez, who had just been like massive stars at the previous World Cup.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they didn't really fit in what I needed for West Ham at that time. I was desperate for a left-sided player. I needed a fullback. Neither of those arrived, by the way. So, yeah, it did cause me a problem in the dressing room because there was rumours about the financials that were, circulating. Where do they all fit? So there was all that problem, and they weren't actually match fit. So it caused a bigger problem when they both turned up. Actually, not even at the level of us to train with. That's not going to happen with Vinicius Junior, by the way, because he's just played a World Cup, and actually his defensive work is actually very, very good. I mean, I don't think he'd have any problem getting into Arsenal in terms of his work rate and his discipline. I think he would fit it'd tick all those boxes. The big issue is financially. What would the package be? Would there be, a sort of side issue with his package, i.e., his image rights or something like that, where he could be on the same wages as everybody else, but he isn't, if you know what I mean. You could call cloudy accounting, we'll call it. So that might be an issue. But I genuinely think, and I'll go back to Tevez, when they come into the building, the players, my West Ham players, were absolutely delighted, excited. Like, this is brilliant, but this will be brilliant. Didn't quite work out like that, but at that particular time, they were literally like, this is brilliant.
I remember that photo of you and those 2. Just a kid in a candy shop. It's brilliant. Yeah. Thank you very much, Alan. We appreciate you being one of our Sunday regulars.
And an ex-manager.
Yeah.
If you manage at any level, managing's not easy.
Keep your calls coming into us now on 03717 223344, or send us a WhatsApp message to the same number. We'll get the voice notes going today, shall we?
I like a voice note.
We like a voice note. Send us a voice note, and we'll be ranking the top international players who came to the Premier League. You're listening to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas, and it all starts with a spin.
Hey, Vegas.
18 plus gambleaware.org.
Jack Grealish.
Yep.
Also going to be back at Man City.
Yep.
Next season.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with Jack if he's given a chance by Maresca, because he would have been part of that Man City squad that Maresca was at. Or will the manager think, no? And will Jack think, you know what, maybe I want to move on? I think it's still early doors. I think we have to see what happens over the next 6 weeks. Still 6 weeks left of the transfer window. Start of September, it closes. I don't see him staying there. I see him moving on. It wouldn't surprise me if he moves somewhere else in Europe. I don't see him staying in the Premier League. So I think he's still got 1 year left, I think, of his contract. So the wages as well, will that be a problem for some of the clubs, maybe in the Premier League? But don't rule out maybe back to Everton. David Moyes loved him.
Yeah, he did well there.
Yeah, he done very well there.
Well there. Okay, interesting. And then, of course, Rodri. reportedly waiting for Real Madrid president Florentino Perez to sanction his return to Spain, and then there's growing support for the move in the capital after he skippered them to the World Cup. Of course, as well, he's linked to Real Madrid. Do you see that one getting done?
It depends, because I did see that from Perez saying that it's not something that they want to do, and I don't think Manchester City are going to let him go on the cheap. I think before the World Cup, they maybe would have negotiated a deal, but his performances in the World Cup was the Rodri that won the Ballon d'Or a couple of seasons ago. That Rodri I wouldn't sell for anything less than 80, 90, 100 million if I'm Manchester City. He's that good. And he's one of them players, Rodri, Shaban, that will play deep.
Right-footed shot, what a goal! Oh, what a hit from Vinicius Junior.
The ego of him, but Vinny Junior. I mean, he got took off earlier on in the season, walked straight into the tunnel. I don't think his head's been turned. I think his ego's that big that he's another one that thinks he should play every game when he's not performing.
Guns missed it, headed in. Vinicius Junior for two.
Oh mate, loved him. Absolutely loved him. I could not take my eyes off that battle.
But how dynamic is he, Vinicius Junior? Just this turbo energy that he seems to have and close control. Terrific talent.
Bellingham rolling it in. Vinicius to win it for Real Madrid. It's 2-0.
Vinicius Junior is another level. Another level.
You are listening to the Final Word phone-in with Imagine Pards on talkSPORT as a little insight to how rated that Vinicius Junior is by a lot of our colleagues here at talkSPORT. Shabanahan there saying he's another level. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, he's definitely in the very, very top of
top tier
players in the world at current market. Yes.
Does he win Arsenal the Champions League next year? If he goes,
well, you never. I mean, the Champions League is one of those things. You know, you got to.
But that's their step up, isn't it? The Arsenal step up next year is to win the Champions League.
It's still very, very difficult. You know, it's not. I wouldn't say. I would say their goal is to win the league again. Personally,
they got so close to doing the Champions League.
Yeah, surely. No, surely they. Of course, they're going to have a good go at it. But I still think that's a. You can't. I think the Premiership, you know, over the 38 games, that is a true indicator of class. And hopefully, let's hope that Arsenal put a better product on the pitch that go along with the results.
Well, like we said before,
that's another. That'll start for you, isn't it?
Yeah, but they did what they had to do to win the league.
Of course.
And let's just see what
go down that road again.
Let's have a look what it looks like post that. Right, before we go back to your calls, former Newcastle boss Steve Bruce joined Max Scott and Andy Jacobs on Friday, and he was asked how they will handle losing 3 top players.
They've been the outstanding performers for Newcastle over the last couple of years in particular. Those 3 to take out your team are practically irreplaceable. I mean, you're selling them all for 100 million each, so it's very, very difficult. They must be in a really difficult position, Newcastle. A bit like Aston Villa. I keep saying the same thing. You know, when I was managing Newcastle, I think the turnover of the club was something like 130 million, 135 million. Now it's somewhere up to where 300 million is the turnover. However, when you compare that to a Manchester United or a Manchester City or an Arsenal or a Chelsea, they're up at 600, 700, 800 million turnover. And that's the problem with the financial fair play and what happens. But to lose your big 3 players must be a blow. And obviously they're going to go down a different direction, it looks like.
Steve Bruce there talking on talkSPORT on Friday with Andy Jacobs and Max Scott about trying to replace 3 players. And, you know, as we've said yourself, you've been in that situation, Pards, replacing key players at clubs. How difficult is it?
Well, you know, when you lose great players, you always have an eye on, you know, what will be the contingency plan. And it never seems quite as unattractive as the one that's going out, actually. Sometimes it works out for you, sometimes it doesn't. But it is. I think it'd be proven probably statistically that, you know, when you lose big players, very rarely you improve the team. There is probably some stat around that that would be quite damning. So it is the difficult situation. Interesting, Steve Bruce's budget when he was at Newcastle was about double what I had.
Oh,
see?
Different times, though.
No, of course. And, the Premier League moves very, very quickly. And, of course, there's more funds this year available for transfers than any other year before us because obviously they had more TV money.
Yeah, and
new contract.
Like you said, it's just trying to boost that finance around the club to help make the PSR situation that bit fairer for the clubs like Villa and Newcastle, etc.
And that's why your club sit pretty.
And again,
you do.
Again,
hence
you mentioned
why you're in the transfer market. You've been very active.
Well, you mentioned contingency plans, and Spurs has been a long one and a painful one for supporters. Painful, as we've been lambasted with the you're the home of Beyonce. That's come good now, isn't it?
Well,
Beyonce living there.
Well, it ain't come good yet.
Well,
because you've been 17th and 17th.
No, I understand. No.
It's all right. Just let it go.
It looks more
I don't
positive.
Start about Spurs. It feels more positive.
It feels more positive.
Looks more positive.
And of course, if you do
wrote the theme tune, sung the theme tune.
If you do want to listen to something about Spurs, the Inside Spurs podcast with me, Abby, and Sonny is back.
Is that back? When's that coming back?
Oh, we've had one already.
Oh no, we can talk about transfers.
The amazing goal by Fernandes. We're going to win the league. Spurs are back. Usual.
I do like Fernandes.
Oh, no. I'm joking. I tell you, I've got... Spurs are back. There we go. Before we go to Michael, the Newcastle fan, I always said it. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You won't believe this one. Hi, can you tell me how to tune into talkSPORT, please? I seem to be stuck to Talk Arsenal.
Talk Arsenal? Oh, what? We're talking Arsenal.
Because I'm a Spurs fan, I get told, I'm biased. Because as soon as I mention Spurs, mention bias. I'm the least biased person on this station.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Apart from you.
And you definitely lean towards Spurs.
Hang about it. There's a top 10 of biases on here.
You're good. I think you're very balanced.
Yes.
I do think you're very, very balanced.
In the words of Matt Lucas, who's an Arsenal fan.
But emotionally...
Magnanimous.
Sometimes emotionally, it just gets you. There's the odd week where it's just got you too much.
17th twice in a row.
Yeah,
that's why.
What I'm saying. We've had that Sunday game where it's just hurt you.
Well, thank God we're on mainly a Saturday this year.
Yeah, mainly more Saturdays for Spurs.
It means I can get to the game more because we've been the talk on Sunday. Well, the good news is we're going to talk to a Newcastle fan. So let's go to Michael. Hello, Michael.
How are you doing, fellas?
Yeah, not bad at all. Obviously, we're talking about Newcastle selling your biggest and best players. How are you feeling about that at the moment, Michael?
Well, I was on with Andy and Troy. I think it was Thursday. Not there, yeah. Well, I'm not very optimistic if he goes, if Bruno goes. But with the chances of Vinny Jr. going in, another Brazilian, I think if he goes in before Bruno, I think it just cements it.
Yeah.
But as you were, what I did ring up about was. Alan had mentioned about this stadium and if there was going to be any investment or a new stadium lined up. I was saying to your producer, the stadium has actually been picked for Euros in 2028. So
that's good to know.
Yeah, but with the chances of a new stadium coming, they can't see it happening anytime soon. To obviously boost the investment, like what Spurs have done.
It takes a while to reflect on the pitch. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And maybe, sorry, Michael, to cut into you there, what Pard said about this new model of the younger players and buy-in with the hope of investing there, maybe that's what they're doing, Michael.
Yeah, well, yeah, it just makes it, we're trying to get out of this selling club, stepping stone sort of mentality. I mean, with PSR, holding teams back, you get the teams that like you said, Aston Villa selling Morgan Rogers. In no other world would they want to get rid of that sort of player. We don't want to lose Bruno. Tonali, yeah, we can. It's that. I think with Bruno, it just hits different. With him saying his kids are Geordies, he's a Geordie.
Can I just interrupt, Michael? I just want to go back to Rodgers because I think what you just said there is what I think a lot of football fans up and down the country are disappointed about Rodgers' transfer. That he's gone from a successful Aston Villa, right, who got Champions League football to, and he's gone to Chelsea, purely on when he's their best player. So that now for all the other Premier League teams who are looking at that going, what chance you got? Does that make sense?
But at the end of the day, it's Chelsea, regardless of how they did last year.
But I'm just saying, as a football fan, you're a football fan. That Rodgers transfer hurt, I think. I think if it hurt football fans across the board, not just Aston Villa fans.
But it's not surprising because it's Chelsea.
Okay.
Club world champions last season. Like, I know it hasn't looked like a great prospect at Chelsea, but you got to remember, they've got a great new manager in Alonso. That's an exciting project.
And they will do well. Anyway, let's go back to Michael. Michael, what was your point?
So, just with the stadium, obviously there is talks of the training ground being the big facility, like the likes of Man City, Tottenham have all got the big, flashy, the place that is going to potentially attract the players away from. I mean, people say Newcastle's not as inviting as London. I don't think the people that have been there. I mean, the weather's not the best, but it's like the city. It's a one club. We're a one club city.
It's a wonderful city and wonderful people. And
there's no problem logistically because you can just fly in and out of Newcastle. It's one of the easiest airports to get in, and actually one of the best airports. I want to say that. Of the people who work there, absolutely brilliant.
In like 3 hours.
Yeah,
it's easy on the train. Thank you very much, Michael. Good mention of Chelsea because we haven't really spoke about Chelsea yet and their transfers. Morgan Rogers going to Chelsea, mate. As I said, it's Chelsea, Kings Road, London. Like, this is big. Chelsea are big. They're the biggest London club, no? Them or Arsenal.
I'm not bothered. I'm not talking about Chelsea in actual fact, right? And Alonso and all that. I'm just saying, for the teams that want to crack. Let's talk about Crystal Palace, Notts Forest, Aston Villa, Everton, right? You got to crack that top group. That transfer was a blow. That's the point I'm making. Not where he went. It was the fact that they had to sell him to fit into the UEFA rules, the PSR rules, and that therefore that to cross the bridge to perhaps be Premier League champions, very, very difficult for Aston Villa now.
Well, now that Morgan Rogers is at Chelsea, if he wants a fantastic hairdresser, he needs to go to Rawlings in Chelsea.
Does he?
Go and see Anthony.
Is he the man?
He's the top tier. Go and see him, Pods.
Well, give me a cut in the eyebrow. I fancy one of them. Right? You know what?
Listen.
No.
Rawlings are Rawlings, mate. That's the
if Rawlings, if they're going to do me a freebie, you're like a £25 exclusive.
There you
deal.
go, £25 for Pods.
Yeah, I'll be in. I'm a good tipper.
I tell you, he's got better hair than me. I've got none left. Anyway, that's 17-17.
When I come to Ibiza, I'm gonna have a nick in my eyebrow, like to try and fit in.
Well, before Ibiza, go and see Anthony Rawlings. 03717 223344. We're talking about transfers. The Morgan Rogers one hurt football fans, according to Pards. What do you think? Do let me know. 03717 223344. Sundays are back. It's Imagine Pards.
If it is true, that is the one for Tottenham, the one that got away. If you think about what Abramovich did to Chelsea, did to Premier League football, did to world football, he was a benefactor.
He turned you into a big
monster. Yeah, he turned us into a monster.
Yeah, he did, because you wasn't a big club before him. He was an average size club.
I mean, we certainly, if you want to do this, which I don't suggest you should, but if you want to do this, in the 10 years prior to Abramovich, Chelsea won more than you've won in the Premier League era.
Up the channels.
In the 10 years.
Honestly, you and Cundy.
In the 10 years, because you can't let it go. You say one thing and I just
one thing. Like, I literally just said one thing and that was it. Like, bang, I got the fishing rod out.
Yeah. In the 10 years prior to
a big one.
You have. In the 10 years prior to Abramovich taking over Chelsea, so just go the 10 years prior to that, Chelsea won more than Tottenham have in the entire Premier League era. So you want to, when You know that run?
Would you win the Cup Winners' Cup?
We won. We did win the Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Good trophy.
We did win the Cup Winners' Cup. Yes, we did.
Did you win the Audi Cup?
We won the FA Cup. We won the League Cup. We won the Super Cup, beating Real Madrid in Monaco. Gus Poyet scoring the winner. We didn't lose to Tottenham at home for 27 years. A lot of that record obviously stretched into that pre-Abramovich period.
Yeah.
We didn't. I mean, we were calling it 3-point lane.
Been 3-point lane for a while.
We were calling it 3-point lane
Chelsea
way before Roman Abramovich came along.
Still is.
Guy's intro song, wasn't it?
Correct.
What year?
92, wasn't it? I think. It was the
first one.
The first Premier League advert, wasn't it? Isn't it? Producer Ross, yeah?
First goal.
First goal in Premier League was Teddy Sheringham, wasn't it?
Teddy Sheringham, Notts Forest.
That's why you don't take him off parts.
Because he could smash it in the top corner at any moment.
Brian Dean was the first goal.
No, Teddy did have something.
What was Teddy's first?
He had a first goal for something. Got Forest.
Teddy was the first televised goal on Sky, that's why.
There you go. Try and trip me up, Ross. He's trying to, probably prove a technicality on me there. No need for it.
Simple Minds, that track, right? Yeah. Great record. It does.
Good front man, wasn't he?
Yeah, it does really make you think. That I can see the advert in my head now.
Yeah.
So vividly. When the Premier League came to fruition.
I mean, I do a bit for Sky, and I've always been a big fan of Sky. I don't actually like it. Hold on a minute.
Cheating on me.
Well, this part of this group, News International, so it's okay. Still in the same firm. I don't like the music that they used last year. I hope they change it this year.
Oh, what, for the Premier League? I can't remember what was the Premier League thing.
There was some song.
They've had some good ones over the years.
Yeah.
GOAT was this year's one. Yeah. Baby, I'm Ready to Go. That was always great, wasn't it? No, I'm ready to go. I've got to big him up because he's my friend as well. Tiny Temper. Written in the Stars was a great one.
Tiny Temper. I see him at the Monaco Grand Prix. He did the first time I'd ever seen a mic drop.
Oh, really?
So at the end of the song, he just dropped the mic. He dropped the mic. What's he do that for?
The mic
and then
drop.
He walked off.
Did you remember that one? Oh, Written in the Stars. That was a great one.
Yeah, it's good.
What was your era of like Premier League when you was at West Ham? Like, what was it on then? It was, I'm trying to think. Oh, The Time Is Now by Maloko.
I don't know.
Oh, we have to get The Time Is Now on, and you'll know it.
Scooter that, bring back some memories.
That reminds me of being in the pub on a Sunday, right? You get there for the early game. We was there all the way until the last game.
Was you?
See the bits afterwards.
3 games.
Oh.
When they used to do the 3-game Sunday.
By the end of the evening, you're in the Chinese. We've said Anthony Rawlins, the hairdresser I mentioned, getting a what do we used to get, the old mixed fried rice and a
Peking
curry
duck
sauce.
and the pancakes. I know the pancakes. It's all coming out the side because you've had a few beers.
Sundays were brilliant.
Getting it all down your shirt. Sweet and sour.
I couldn't even drink a pint of beer now, let alone the pints we.
Oh, I've got a question for you, right?
Talk to me.
I was at a function last night, one of those festivals, Crane Fest, right? I was at in Brixton. Don't ask me why I was there, but I was there. Girl in front of me got a can of drink, right? She goes, da, 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 da. And I thought it was a can of water. So when her bill come up, it's 14 quid for these 2 cans of water. I was like, that can't be right. I went, what? So I didn't ask her. She drifted away. I said, what's that? Go show me that can. He said, oh yeah, it's sparkling water with alcohol.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever heard of such a thing? So is that a new thing? We'll have to ask Ted. Sparkling water, what is the point? What is the point of that? You might as well just, I don't know, have a shot of vodka or something and have a water.
White Claw. Oh, yeah, the White Claw. I've seen that everywhere. That started, I think, in LA. I remember seeing that in LA when I was doing.
So I guess it's really good for you. It's probably like no calories or something in it. Come on, find out, Madge.
Just have a pint.
You should know. Well, sparkling water with alcohol, guys. That's your new move.
Right, we've already spoken to one manager who's joined. Well, we haven't spoken to any managers yet. We spoke to one former manager who's been telling us about what he thinks of the transfers. We're going to speak to someone else now.
We did have Steve Bruce on.
Yeah.
In the clipping.
Yeah, we did see. Right, let's get over to the one and only, the Bromley boss. And he had the Woody Derby yesterday because Bromley took on Crystal Palace. We'll ask him how he got on. How you doing, Woody?
Morning, guys. How are you?
Very well indeed.
There he is. I can see him.
Pardew trying to get over people drinking sparkling water with alcohol.
Yeah, have you had that, Woody? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I just heard you say that, and I thought Madge was name dropping when he said it's an LA thing.
It's called hard seltzer. That's what it is.
Alka-Seltzer's all I've had, Madge.
Let's talk about the.
No, hold it. Before we talk about football, I've got to just bring him up on something there because I don't know if it's the light on that Zoom camera, but it looks to me like that beard is grey or going grey.
Management, that is, mate.
Oh, I'm so pleased. Now you know.
Management are trying to sign players in the off-season. It was a beautiful blonde beard a little while ago.
Well, it's funny you should say that because, of course, after that amazing victory in a 3-0 victory over Crystal Palace in a friendly yesterday, I did actually watch your post-match interview and talking about that difficult period of the last 2 weeks of signing players. So we're going to come to the Crystal Palace result in a moment. I want to talk about that because me and Paz have been talking about transfers and that. You know, how difficult has it been this pre-season in terms of trying to get the right players for League One, Woody? Because, of course, you've got such a great squad and a great team, you know, bringing people into that fold. They've got to be the right character for your team as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been really tough, probably tougher than I ever anticipated. And I think what's hard as well, you can feel the supporters all online and all the noise around saying we're not signing anybody. We're trying so hard in the background to get players in, and they've got to fit a certain DNA that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We could, we could go and probably get any sort of player, but I want to push and try and get the players that have been in the league and know the league, because that's going to be really vitally important to us. And we haven't got the biggest budget. And, we're not ashamed to say we're probably not the first and most attractive club that they want to come to. But once they look around and once they know a bit more of the project, it kind of does help a little bit.
I mean, obviously in that division, Woody, you're going to be in that low section of the finances because he was in the low section of the finances in the division below, but he managed to get out of it. So obviously it's not an impossible job, but the loan market, as we both know, is an interesting market, and it's something that probably not covered so much by talkSPORT, but it's an interesting. So just talk us through, like, if you want to loan a Premier League player, what's the criteria? What's the competition? How do you get, say, a young boy out of Manchester City or out of Arsenal?
Yeah, it's not easy, and you're right. We are the bottom budget team. You know, that's not being disrespectful to my owner. We know what we're working on, and that's to do with the financial fair play. But it's really hard because you identify a player in a Premiership club, you convince the player he wants to come. You then got to convince the agent. Then you've got to speak to a loans manager, who then starts talking to you about finances. I think everybody on the outside, believes that Premier League clubs just give their players out on loan for nothing. And then you kind of realise the money these boys are on, which is way, way more than we're on. And then you have to try and negotiate that. And then on top of that part, as you'd probably know more than anything, these boys are going around pre-seasons now with their clubs, respective clubs. So, for example, Chelsea boys were going out to Hong Kong. So we can't get them until they're back from that tour. And that's still a long time. It takes us right close to our start of our season. And then there's always that last minute someone else comes and takes them. So you you're sort of hanging on.
It's like a jeopardy, isn't it?
You're hanging on and hanging on. You've got so much money you can only use. and it's really stick or twist whether you trust the loans manager, trust the agent, trust the player wants to come, and it all comes together. And there's been so many players we've lost at the last minute for that reason, and it's tough, that is, and no supporters really bothered about that, what you lose or what budget you're on. They just want you to get a team that's out there that's going to compete.
Andy, listen, I know it's only pre-season, but congratulations. You don't beat a Premier League side 3-0 every day of the week. In terms of the result, what pleased you most? The scoreline, the performance, or the mentality that your players showed against the Premier League opposition?
Yeah, the result is nice. I won't lie to anybody, but I won't get carried away with that. It is pre-season, and as we know, they are sometimes like a little bit like an exhibition game. And I'm pretty sure, with respect to Crystal Palace, and it was brilliant that they brought, all their first team boys that are in the country down. It's tough for those boys. They're early on in their pre-season and they've got a little bit longer to go until their season starts. And they're flying out to, I think, Monday to Italy. So they've got other agendas and they're at other stages. The bit that pleased me most is we've signed 5 or 6 new players. And you always wonder if they're going to fit into the DNA of what you're doing, even though we've worked all pre-season. You always wonder whether they are going to do how the rest of the team functions, or you get the odd one that sort of thinks he's going to do his own thing and don't want to really fit into how we play. And we've got a certain way of playing. We're not going to come away from that. And that was the pleasing thing. We played the way we normally play. And that, again, that isn't easy in a pre-season game, which is at a low tempo. Everyone passes across the back and takes 400 passes to get to the halfway line. We didn't play like that, and that was really pleasing for me, that we give a clear identity of what we're about. The downside of that is everyone around Bromley area now suddenly thinks we're going to be champions of League One because we beat Palace.
Expectations will grow, as you know. Obviously, on a personal level, you as a manager of the year in League Two last year, I'm sure you've had people sounding you out to maybe move on. What is your current position, pal? Are you going to stay at Bromley? What's the situation there?
Yeah, I see no reason at the moment to leave, and I've always maintained a really good relationship with my owner, and without sort of getting ahead of myself, I've always said, as long as the club matches my ambition, my ambition when I took the job, Pardew, as you well know, was to get this club from non-league to League One. Which at the time people thought I was crazy saying that, and we've done it, myself and the chairman, with all the players we've had en route. And I really want to, I want to manage in the championship, because if I was to be delusional, I want to be a Premiership manager. We know how hard that is and how most English managers have to get there. So, I want to manage at the highest level. I want to manage at the Championship, which I see is probably the most realistic level at the moment. And as long as Bromley's ambition matches my ambition with that, then I've no reason to look elsewhere, of course. And look, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't interest, or there hasn't been interest, and there hasn't been noise.
Steady.
Yeah, but I've got a really brilliant relationship with my owner, where I've been sort of transparent with him, and he's been brilliant with me with that.
Yeah,
We've got that relationship.
Yeah, he's a good man. And obviously, I've met him a couple of times, and he's give you tremendous backing. I mean, the thing that I think's important for you is not to lose that tremendous spirit that you built in that dressing room, that group of players.
Yeah, you can't buy that.
To win the trophy and have 2 promotions like that is outstanding. And Bromley fans, I obviously sit with them sometimes. Don't go, only go 2 or 3 times a year. But when I've sat with them, they're so proud of you, mate. And you've done it extremely well. Well done.
Thank you. And like I say, I must just touch on the owner. You're right, Pards. He's been brilliant, and he's been, as much as I probably get a lot of the plaudits, for the managerial side. What he's done at this football club, and the infrastructure that he's put in place is nothing short of fantastic.
Beautiful to see harmony between a chairman and manager. It's nice to see.
Not often.
I know. It wasn't that last week. Let me tell you, man. Last week was
they're going to strangle each other next week. Yes.
Listen, it's been a good week in the Woodman household, of course, because of not only did you beat Palace 3-0, but Freddie signs a new deal at Liverpool until 2029. You must be very proud dad.
Yeah, absolutely delighted. We had the conversation when he first went there. I think there was a usual, why is he going to Liverpool? He's not going to play. look, Liverpool's Liverpool, and then the fact that we always thought if he got one game for Liverpool at that point, it'd be brilliant, and then he had that little run of a few games. And I just think he's slotted into Liverpool really well. You know, I know that's a sort of obvious thing to say, but the group of players there, you know, when I speak to Freddie about these superstars, they've been brilliant with him, and he's really slotted in there. And you just feel he's so happy there, you know. And I'm delighted. I'm delighted that, he, like he said in his interview, he went back there and the club welcomed him with open arms and straight away wanted to sign him on a 3-year contract. So that speaks volumes for him as a professional footballer, really. And I'm super proud of him on that front, and delighted that he's going to have 3 years at an unbelievable football club.
Yeah, and I've also got a new role for him because I've just slotted him in as an ambassador of talkSPORT. We're giving him a couple of calls this year.
He'll do
He's
that.
a good talker, your boy. He's all right. Yeah,
he'll do that. You know that, Pardew. He'll do that. You know, with a drop of a hat. He's out in Nashville at the moment, so I've been catching up with him on a time delay. You know, out there, and these tours that these boys go on now are fantastic.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, not like our ones in New Zealand and Pardew. We was 24 hours on a plane, all sleepy, tired, and being hauled around everywhere. These tours are unbelievable now that these boys go on.
Brilliant. Woody, listen, I'm sure we're going to be keeping up to date with all things Bromley during the season. Of course, as everyone knows, it's our team.
South London's finest.
Thank you very much, Andy Woodman, the Bromley
Thanks
manager.
very much.
Well done, Woody.
Thanks, Pards. Lovely to speak to you. Thanks, Madge.
A reminder that talkSPORT is the exclusive home of the EFL on national radio. We love EFL in here. With up to 150 live commentaries across the network, including the playoffs. We'll have 7 live games across the opening weekend in August. Coming up next, we're talking about another huge transfer story that could be in the pipeline. Bradley Mokola. You're listening to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. All your favourite games, all in one place. 18+, GamblerWare.org. Perfect usage of this tune. It is talkSPORT, and we are talking all things Commonwealth Games. So the gold theme tune, because everyone's going for gold, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, this should have been the theme tune for that competition.
Well, they can still make it that.
Yeah, they've still got them a couple of weeks left, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make it the official.
Absolutely. Right, it is now time to get an update on the Commonwealth Games with BYD.
Commonwealth Games update on talkSPORT with the BYD Dolphin Surf City Smart Ocean Cool 100% electric fun.
Right, let's get all the latest with talkSPORT's John Cushion.
Perfect music. Historic gold for Scotland in the gymnastics earlier this afternoon. The first ever men's all-round Commonwealth champion for Reuben Ward. He was celebrating his 21st birthday last Sunday. Now he's on top of the podium in his first Commonwealth Games after the world-class floor and pommel routines in particular. And he told talkSPORT the whole day has been a mixture of stress, excitement, pride, relief. Well done to him. Go and celebrate. The women's all-round starts in the next 5 minutes. Now, I'm at the Tollcross pool for the third evening session of these games. It's a bit like when you go to the gym early in the morning and there's not many people around. It's the best time to be at the pool. It's very quiet and it's very serene. It won't be later because Adam Ramsey-Peaty swims in the men's 50-metre breaststroke semi-finals this evening after his bronze last night in the 100. He qualified 5th fastest in the heats and against all the people that he raced again last night. We'll see how he gets on later. The Flower of Scotland could ring around here later. Harrod Evans is the hot favourite for the women's 100-metre breaststroke, and never rule out the Aussies, of course, talking of which they thrashed England 66-47 in the netball group stages earlier. This is the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games. Natalie Sawyer here from 7. It's live on talkSPORT.
Brilliant stuff, John. Thank you very much indeed. And that was our Commonwealth Games update, all thanks to BYD.
Commonwealth Games update on talkSPORT with BYD. Dare to dream with BYD and the Commonwealth Games.
So the big names are being brandished around world football as the transfer market is in full swing, even at grassroots level, all the way up to the Premier League. And we've heard from Andy Woodman there about how difficult it's been getting players in his level, League One now.
Yep, and all the loan players are currently and excuse me. One of the problems you have pre-season is quite a cloudy picture because some of the players you're targeting, will not play in the first team, but of course in pre-season they are in the first team. Correct. And have dreams and ambitions that they will be in the first team, whereas the manager who's at the club and you as the manager in a lower league club know that isn't going to happen. So yeah, and it all gets a bit
cloudy.
Yeah, and reality has to kick in at some point, and then it's a bit too early at the moment.
Well, just quickly, Liverpool have held preliminary talks with PSG over Bradley Barcola, talkSPORT understands.
Yeah, very good.
Barcola has emerged as one of Liverpool's top targets to replace the departing Mo Salah.
Yeah.
After decided not to pursue their interest in Real Madrid-bound Yan Diomande. Sources have indicated talkSPORT PSG would not sell for less than 170 million.
Well, PSG are in that position where they can, not literally say we're not selling. So it is difficult to get anyone out of there. I mean, this is the top end of the Premier League we're talking about here, and these are the sort of moves I think that will accelerate over the next sort of week or so until some of these big guns get landed.
170 million.
Okay, so Vinicius Junior then, who's a 1 year on his contract, let's just say you pay 135 million for him, bargain. If you compare it to that,
yeah, absolutely. Right, coming up next, we're going to be turning our attention to other clubs splashing the cash. Spurs and Chelsea.
Oh, no.
Why are you laughing?
No, because I can see that little twinkle in your eye.
What, Chelsea?
Because the Spurs thing, I know. Yeah, I've spoke to Spurs fans like the last couple of weeks. I've met a few of them. I can tell there's a little gleam in your eye. There's visions of hope out there.
Well, I will give you my honest appraisal next. 03717 22 It's talkSPORT. Jurgen Klopp has today been appointed as the new national team manager. As a Liverpool fan, would you spend the money on Diomande as a sort of up-and-coming prospect, or would you go for Barcola as the ready-made replacement for Mo Salah?
I'm not sure on Barcola. I'd probably Diomande. I like him. But it's 110 million quid for potential. When you're paying 110 million quid for potential nowadays, I don't love that. And that's a problem. And that's where the market is, unfortunately. So it's a tough one. Liverpool have to replace Salah. They need wide players. Now they're talking about some player from Monaco who's probably would have been 5th choice at the start of the summer. So Liverpool fans would probably spontaneously combust if that's the only signing that came in those positions. I don't think they'll get to him on there. I think that's PSG all over. So then you're going to go for Barcola now, who Arsenal want as well. Yeah. And he's a very, very good player, but he's not in the PSG side, is he? 99% of the time, so he's in and out. I don't know. I'm torn. Is there any other options, I would say, to the recruitment department at Liverpool?
Jurgen Klopp, by the way, just rounding off that conversation, one of his standout quotes today.
I love that.
I'm not doing this job for you.
From the Toffees to the Tractor Boys, the Eagles to the Seagulls, Gunners, Bees, Hammers and Magpies, Premier League teams have got a load of crazy nicknames. Ever wondered where they came from? Let's start with Everton. They're dubbed the Toffees, but why? Well, because when the club was formed, just down the road there were 2 local toffee shops. Ye Ancient Everton Toffee House and Mother Noblet's Toffee Shop were big fan favourites. Next, they say if you can't beat 'em, join 'em, and that's exactly what Ipswich Town did when it came to their nickname. The term Tractor Boys used to be chanted by their opponents as a way of putting the team down for their farming background. But during one game back in the late 90s, Ipswich were 1-0 up and they decided to flip the script. 1-0 to the Tractor Boys, they sang, and a new nickname was born. Let's head to Leicester, famous for more than just a red, well, orangey cheese and Jamie Vardy. Leicestershire is also the birthplace of fox hunting, hence the Foxes. Next up, turns out apples are not the only fruit that don't fall far from the tree. Bournemouth's nickname, the Cherries, comes from the fact the club's stadium was originally built right next to a bunch of cherry orchards. This next story actually involves 2 club nicknames. It started with Crystal Palace. They were having an absolute nightmare run back in the early 70s. They'd been relegated after a terrible spell and manager Malcolm Allison decided enough was enough. He wanted a new nickname, something strong, fast and destined for success. Something exactly like an eagle. But there's more to this one. Brighton were in search of a nickname too, and Palace finally gave them what they needed. In a heated match between the two back in 1976, Palace fans began chanting, "Eagles, Eagles." And some clever Brighton fans came up with the perfect reply, "Seagulls, Seagulls." Not all club nicknames have a crazy story though. Take the Gunners. That just comes from the fact a group of munitions workers in the Royal Arsenal factory in Woolwich set up the club in 1886. On the flip side, some nicknames seem simple, but there's a bit more to them, like West Ham. The Hammers is actually nothing to do with the ham part of the name. It comes from the fact the club used to be called Thames Ironworks FC and was made up of workmen and shipbuilders. So next time the away end's chanting their crazy nickname, you'll now know exactly where it came from.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave, on DAB, online and on your smart speaker.
There's the full-time whistle.
It's the ultimate fan phone-in.
And that surely settles it.
The final word phone-in with Madge and Pards on talkSPORT.
Welcome to the final word phone with me, Majestic, alongside the legendary football gaffer Alan Pardew. Thank you to all of you for your wonderful calls on this Sunday afternoon. The phone lines are still open on 03717 223344. Coming soon, we'll be heading to the US of A to speak to Wrexham boss Phil Parkinson after his side have beaten 2 Premier League sides this summer. And we'll be discussing the manager merry-go-round. But next up, we're talking about some of the other London clubs splashing the cash on the final word on talkSPORT. This is talkSPORT, Madge and Pards on a Sunday evening, a bit earlier than our usual time. But we can confirm that we're going to be here next season.
Yep.
The manager.
We've re-signed.
We re-signed.
New terms, which didn't really change much from last year's terms.
Same team. Great team in the gallery.
We've got a great backup team.
Oh, we got a great team in the gallery.
Yeah.
Our team.
We got one of the most up-and-coming analysts in the game, in Teddy
Mundo.
I think he's matured over the last little period, actually.
Has he got most improved player?
Well, he's now turning up, not smelling of alcohol, which I think is a bonus.
We might have disgruntled staff members, though, because, Matty, I think for me, could put Ted to the position.
Well, it's possible, and that's what you want. You want competition.
Competition in the ranks.
Yeah, but you do. That's that's part of it. That's how it works.
We got the dream team.
Got to drive each other forward. Try and make a better show than we did last year. Some of our shows last year were average. We need to get better. That's the manager talking to.
Yeah. 03717223344. We're very grateful for our team. And I must say, speaking of teams, because we've obviously been talking about Newcastle especially, PSR's been mentioned quite a lot.
Yeah. UEFA rules been mentioned. So they are harder than the PSR.
I've got two really good messages here that kind of juxtaposition.
Good, for our mass.
As a Villa fan and some Newcastle fans I know, you're all missing the point. All we're asking for is an absolute fair playing field financially. We both have uber wealthy billionaire owners. Give us and other clubs who can prove money stream 5 or 6 years free hit at the transfer market, like the other so-called Big Six had before financial regulations were brought in. Now that would be fair and very interesting. This they won't do because all of a sudden clubs won't be selling big players. Quite the opposite, they'll be strengthening, right? So it's a good point.
It's a valid point.
But Richard comes in here as an Arsenal fan. Don't forget that Arsenal had to sell their best player almost every year after moving to the Emirates. Now you think of Fabregas, Van Persie, Adebayor.
And by the way, okay, I'm not going to preempt what he says, but they were lean years.
We got no sympathy when Abramovich and City bought their success. Not during the Banter FC and Arsenal Fan TV years. We're back through hard yards of tough decisions like getting rid of Ozil, Obama, Laka, and brilliant coaching and being brave enough to stay behind the manager through tough periods.
Correct. That is all correct.
We are now, was hard and we won. Newcastle and Villa have the same challenge we had then. Work your way out of it like we did. That is a great message from that Arsenal fan and has so many good points there. And in actual
the wage bill and the Ozils and all that, and they had to get rid of them to bring it down to a realistic level and get a team functioning. Yes, so they built. I do agree with that. But it is still frustrating, I think, prior to PSR rules, that these teams had free hand to go and buy the biggest and best. And it is,
But technically that's just...
Which Arsenal could have done because they was in that period.
No, but they had the finances of the Emirates to pay.
No, I know.
That's what it was.
That was the choice that they made.
Again, now...
The same as what Spurs did when the Levy changed to the new stadium.
And again, with hindsight, the job Wenger did, actually, was incredible.
Of course, he was top manager.
But, to keep them regularly competing for top four, and it got banned, top four trophy and all this,
It's just like going back to that famous year when Mourinho said, this is the best year I've ever had was Man United, when I finished 5th or 4th, whenever it was.
I think he finished 2nd and won.
Yeah, 2nd, wasn't it? That's right, yeah.
And then they won the Europa League.
Yeah.
And a cup.
And Wenger had, as you say, 4 or 5 years where he was really kind of, having to take a lot of criticism. Still getting the team in Champions League positions.
Correct. And that's the thing, as I've been discussing about Spurs, when we've heard Gabby on here, and obviously we had that chat about why Spurs are able to do it. But I can understand the frustration, but Spurs fans have been frustrated for a long time.
17th for 17th.
But in the last 5 years, we had
17th for 17th.
In the last 5 years, we're the second biggest net spender, which is crazy. Just recruited really poorly. Let's talk about Chelsea because they brought in some players already.
And we're talking about a recruitment budget here.
Yeah,
it's off the scale.
Chelsea currently have 38 players under contract. They can only register 25 players for the Premier League this season. Now, the new manager's in. Morgan Rogers is obviously the talking point here. They've also got the chap from Crystal Palace, the defender, as well.
Yes.
He's French international, isn't he?
What are you talking about? What are you trying to get his name?
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of his name.
Lacroix, isn't it?
Lacroix.
Yeah.
Plays central of the three for Palace. Been absolutely outstanding for them. And obviously come on in the for the French when Saliba got injured.
Yeah,
he come on, so he was third choice. When you look at just going back to Chelsea, when you look at the players they're currently carrying, it is incredible.
Big numbers,
massive numbers, and they're going to have to take some hits because some of these players are going to have to move them on. And I'm expecting, if I was a Premier League manager right now, I'd be looking at this group and thinking,
who can I have?
Well, if they don't make that named squad, the valuation will go massively down. So they're going to have to try and do a lot of business before they name that squad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Otherwise, you're going to devalue some big hitters here. So we'll see. And obviously, they're going to be loaning, and I would suggest there'll be, I don't know, how many will they loan? 7 or 8 players, 9 players, maybe they'll loan out again. But there we go. Let's see.
But isn't this the situation with their business model parts of buying so many of these young players and then trying to get, big transfer fees for them, that you end up with a big amount of players to try and keep happy? There's just so many numbers there.
Palmer, Rogers, Fernandez, Casido. Wow. It's just fantastic players. Reece James, that midfield looks so strong. Still, when I look at their number 9, I'm still don't think they got enough to win the league.
But isn't that the biggest problem in world football right now? Is that number 9? Like, who is that next person? Who? And we've said this with England.
They got Delap, Nicholas Jackson still under there. I think that he's still a Chelsea player, although he was loaned. Estivo, the winger, Delap. When you look down the list, there's so many options. And Alonso, the one good thing that I think Chelsea have really done, forget about this plays list, the best thing they've done, in my mind, is go, right, okay, let's not get a manager that we can dictate to. Let's get a big manager in who's going to run the team, and let's just leave him to it. And I hope that they do that and stick to it. Because I think in the long term, they
can help themselves.
Well, from what I can gather, Alonso is going to have some sticky moments, but I hope he's strong enough to throw him out of the dressing room. This keep turning up at full time, even before the manager gets to talk. They're in the dressing room. The group, I'm not saying the actual chairman,
but the people.
The power that would be in that dressing room. Too early, far too early. So anyway, let's leave that there.
Pards, if someone come into your dressing room after a defeat, what would you do?
Well, I had it in Greece, and it almost come to blows. The owner was in the dressing room chastising a player before I'd even got in the change room.
Oh, wow.
Having an argument with actually an English player. So I knew exactly what the words that were being spoken, and it was just incorrect. I left about 4 days later.
Wow, so it can get that heated.
Yeah. Yeah, and
how unhelpful.
Well, of course, it's like you can't really go down as an owner on a trade floor. Let's say it was a factory on the trade floor, and think you have any connection and any part of what's going the process that's being done. You don't understand it really, so stay out of the way. Give it to people, and and trust them to be able to deliver for you. And what I think with Alonso, I think they've got a manager they can trust. I think they've got a powerful manager. I think he's got a distinct system that he sticks to. I think he'll be going free at the back. And I'll be interested to see how Chelsea progress. I still think they're short of winning the league because the number 9 is the one position I still don't think it's strong enough to win them the league.
Anyone out there in world football you look at and think, go get them, they win the league?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Harry Kane?
But Harry Kane would definitely. But, would you get Harry Kane out of Miami? I know you still think he's coming back, don't you? You still think he's coming back to Spurs. I mean, you still dream of him coming back to Spurs.
Do you ever watch The Simpsons?
Yes.
I'm like Nelson waiting for his dad to come back from the shop. Papa, if you can hear me. That's me with Harry Kane. Harry, if you can hear me. That's what we're waiting for.
Harry needs a good rest, though, doesn't he?
He does need a rest.
He needs a good 6 weeks off, that boy. Bayern Munich can get by without him, I should think, for a couple of months.
He's played so much football.
Yeah, ridiculous, yeah.
I think we've seen it in the World Cup, a lot of them. Declan Rice.
Even his voice was...
Oh, that was brilliant, wasn't it?
Departed. It was funny, wasn't it?
That was very funny indeed. We're going to be speaking about Spurs after the short pause. Any Spurs fans want to call? 03717 223344.
Is that right? 2 17th places. Am I saying that correctly? Did you finish 17th?
2 seasons in a row, yeah.
Incredible. I actually thought you'd moved up one position, like 16th or something. No,
17th.
both 17th.
No, but this year was literally we was in the relegation battle. The year before we wasn't.
And then it did slip down.
And we won a European trophy.
Oh,
Context is everything, Pards. Nobody ever wants to talk about the injuries, do they? Nobody wants to talk about the injuries.
And Ange is back in the business, isn't he? He's back in, isn't he? Where is he?
Here we are, mate. He's in Saudi.
Incredible.
Listen, that man's a winner. He's won a lot.
Wins every second year, doesn't he?
Every second year.
It'd be interesting to see. In Saudi, if he picks up a trophy in his second year, probably will.
What a gig for him. What a great gig.
Yeah. Well, a very, very well paid gig. Let me tell you that.
Listen, like sometimes he could be a little bit angry with the press and stuff. He'll be smiling ear to ear out there.
Yeah, he won't be getting all flustered out there.
He'll be, mate,
There's only like 8,000 people watching anyway.
He's like, that's all right, mate, we'll win.
Yeah.
I might even bump into
I might be doing that a disservice, actually. I think they get bigger fans than that.
I might bump into him at some of the boxing.
Of course.
And we'll be talking about boxing later on in the show.
In Jeddah.
Jeddah last night. But we're back to Riyadh soon. 03717 223344. You listen to the final word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. The ad lib. It all starts with a spin. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
I think United want to move on. He's obviously on a hefty wage. I'm amazed Saudi haven't come in. I'm amazed he hasn't gone out to Saudi.
I think he won it.
Again, Saudi pay a lot more than 300 grand a week for a player obviously who's playing for England and still in his prime. Yeah. I'm very surprised Barcelona didn't do the deal. But then again, I expected him to do well at Barcelona. Most, average wingers would do well out there, the team they have. I don't know where he goes. If you were a Spurs, would you go for him?
That's the one that keeps nagging away in the back of my mind.
We'll take him for a loan.
Yeah.
And if he plays 23 games, you know what I mean, we'll obviously pay this fee and that fee. What United are going to have to probably end up doing is recuperating as much of that fee back and all the loan fees they've had the last 2 seasons and the next 2 seasons. So I'm thinking Spurs. They've got a few more experienced Premier League players they've signed.
And De Zerbi's the type of manager that feels he can.
I'm not sure
he feels he can fix players.
I'm not sure he'd put up with.
Really?
And then you'd worry about the London life, wouldn't you? So
yes, you would.
There's all those things. Rashford is incredibly talented. And you look at him and go, what are you doing with your career? You should be dominating.
There's some great tunes on the show today, haven't we, Parks?
It is, yeah, good. Now, that little bit of aggression in this song, I like that.
Let it all out. We've been letting it all out. Just like this text we've had here. They've not said their name, but they've let it out. No, don't do it, you two. You both, before the World Cup, said how Harry had been rested over the season and basically had no excuses. Don't go making them for him that. Disappearing in big games again.
We did say that. He's right.
Yeah.
He's right. We did say he was fresh. I mean, he didn't look fresh in that last game.
But he does need a rest.
Yeah.
Two things can be true.
He still come out the World Cup with credit, didn't he?
Yeah.
Harry.
But the problem is, obviously, people always point to the big games and say he doesn't turn up, etc.
Well.
But those big games, in general, like England don't turn up. So if England don't turn up, Harry's unlikely to turn up. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Let's not go down that road again. Well, anyway, are we talking about Spurs?
We are. We're talking about the signings we've made.
Right. Let's go.
We've also got a Spurs fan ready to talk to us, so we'll be doing that in a moment. So the Spurs signings so far.
Go.
Can you do them on top of your head? See what you know so far?
I don't have a clue.
So Jan Paul van Hecker
from Brighton. Centre half, blonde centre half.
Correct.
Decent. Very, very good passer.
Very good indeed.
Passes through the lines into the strikers, into wide players.
Very
with efficiency.
Very De Zerbi-like. And obviously work with him. Andy Robertson. Robbo.
Liverpool, marauding left back.
Legend.
Defensively can struggle. Brilliant crosser of the ball.
Yeah.
Brilliant offensive fullback.
Marco Senesi, one of your faves.
Possibly the best centre-half in the Premier League last year, in my opinion. Playing for a team that really didn't have the stature of Spurs. He needs to carry that. If he takes his game from Bournemouth to Spurs, massive signing.
Mateus Fernandes.
West Ham, controls the midfield, technically proficient, low centre of gravity, turns left and right, same attribute, same level of skill, both sides, both feet strong, good striker from distance, as he hit the ball the other night, as you know.
Unreal.
And I think he'll be success.
Sandro Tonali.
Tonali, poor season last year for him. Physically very, very able. Gets up and down the pitch, gets around the pitch, good pace, good in the air, good at set plays, good marks at set plays, efficient with the ball. Needs to have a big first season, I think, after last year.
Yeah. And of course, Dubravka as well as the final one.
Who's that?
The keeper.
Goalie, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just put him in goal.
It's a goalie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a goal.
Yeah, so they're the signings Spurs have made. And of course, as it looks like, Spurs are building from the back in terms of what he's trying to create. So as it stands, it looks like Kinski's going to be his number one.
Who had a great back end of the season after.
He did.
Wow. One of those performances where you just literally want to cover your eyes.
Yeah, and you think
Bless him.
There's no coming back from that.
Yeah, and he's done brilliant.
Some Spurs fans still unconvinced with him and want, I personally, and I'm seeing the links to Leeds, I'd love Trafford. I think he'd be a great keeper for Spurs.
So you're dumping him already?
I'm not dumping him. I'm just going, I don't want to put the pressure on him.
Well, I'm sticking with him. I like him.
I do like him.
I admire his character. Well done to him.
Okay, so then you look at that and then you go, in terms of Spurs' backline, they've got the options. Obviously, Pedro Porro signed a new deal before the World Cup, which is massive. Now, he made player of the tournament.
Right wing back.
No, sorry. He made team of the tournament.
He'll be right wing back.
Yeah.
Go on. Name your team. Go.
So, are we going to go with wing backs?
You're going with wing backs, I think.
Okay, so your three at the back are going to be... We'll take Christian Romero's off.
Yeah.
It seems that way.
Yeah, he's gone.
So Van Heck, Van der Ven and Senesi as your three.
What interesting, because Van der Ven's left-footed, right?
Yeah. And played left back for Holland.
Yeah, and Sensi really prefers, I think, the left side. So I think he might end up in the middle.
Oh, Senesi will?
Maybe. And Van der Ven, it'd be interesting where he calls that one.
Then the left back, do you go Jed Spence or Dougie?
Spence.
Or Robbo?
Or Robbo. That's a good point, yes. That's like competition over
there. That's what I'm saying.
It?
There's some competition in that back line.
Wow.
And that's without Romero staying. I don't think he will stay.
You don't want that character in the dressing room, I don't think.
Okay, I was going to ask you that because there's a lot of debate on my Spurs group chats about that. Romero, we know that is a fantastic player. We know he's got it in him to be a great player.
He can go up a level.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is, I think, with him, is 38 games consistent personality in the dressing room. And I think that's where he lets himself down, if I'm honest.
So Spurs are still in the problem with this whole left-hand side, in terms of getting down the wing. You've got Matthias Tell there. I think Odebert plays there as well.
You're talking about the front line now of the pitch, which they still haven't finished trading yet, by the way.
But we know centrally now Spurs.
No, you ain't got to worry about that. That's as strong as anything.
Fernandes, Gallagher, Bentancur's still there, Sarr's still there. Obviously, Basuma's now gone. This is why possibly Bergvall wants to move.
Well, if I was the manager, I'd find a place for him in the team.
For Bergvall?
Yeah,
really?
I would. I'd try and find a place for him in the team. And certainly I would look 25 games for him. I do think he's a real talent.
Where's 25 games coming with no Europe?
Well, yeah, that is going to be tricky. Maybe that's why he'll go to Newcastle.
Nottingham Forest are looking at him.
Are they? Okay. Yeah. Well, that sounds that is the sort of ballpark that he'll go to.
Well, let's go to Darren, who's a Spurs fan, to get his opinions on what's the transfers have been like so far. How are we, Darren?
Good, thank you. And you?
Yes, very well indeed. What have you made of Spurs' business so far then?
Some of the transfers I've not liked because I think we have better players in the team.
Interesting.
Like Bergvall, I prefer to Tonali.
Good.
And I also would rather have not got rid of that great young defender who they tout as the next big defender in the world.
Right, Darren, this is where I'm going to come in and use Pards over the last couple of years with Spurs' transfers. We finished 17th 2 seasons in a row in the Premier League, correct?
Correct.
What Spurs have done poorly in recruitment-wise have not brought Premier League-ready players, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Vuskovic has not kicked a ball in the Premier League. He is tipped to be the next best thing, right? By going to Brighton, he gets Premier League experience from the off. We've got a buyback clause and a 20% sell-on clause, I believe. For me, Pards, that's great business. What do you reckon, Pards? Before we go back to Darren.
Well, with the players that you've signed, I can't see him playing, so it makes complete sense to me to loan him or sell him.
Yeah. Darren, would you rather have Vuskovic there over, what, Van Hecke?
No, I would have rather found a way to keep him because I just would have. I understand why he went for Van Hecke. I agree with it. But I just think at least let him go out alone and make sure he knows that when he comes back, providing he proves it at Brighton, he's going to get a chance.
Yeah. Well, let me just come in on that because when you have really, really good young players,
they want to play.
They want to play. And also their agents are very, very powerful in terms of like other players coming to you. So like there might be some sort of conversation where, look, okay, well this player, but this young player needs to come out of your club. He needs to move on and we need to move him on. And that's it. There is no like quibbling about it. And the player's mindset is to go. So therefore you have got a massive dilemma there. And if you can't guarantee him, you know, a starting place or in and around that first sort of 17 players, there's no point.
I think so far, Darren, and one thing
you can't keep everybody.
Well, that's one thing that
Chelsea are finding it out.
One thing Vinay's come out and said, and again, if we look at Arsenal over the last few years, and Arsenal have to be the blueprint. They've won the Premier League and they stuck with their manager, right? They sold players at the right time in terms of, you look at the people that they sold in terms of, you know, like Ramsdale, and they moved on to Raya, and you know, the lad that went to Fulham, his name escapes me at the moment. You know, I mean, don't I?
I'm not quite sure about the player who went to Fulham who you're talking about, but what I would say is that the model that you need...
Smith Rowe.
Well, I mean, he hasn't really pulled any trees up at Fulham, if I'm honest.
But that's what I'm saying. But at that time, there was a season where Saka was and him sort of emerged.
Yeah.
And they
that's what I'm saying. You do have to make a call on these young players.
Correct.
And you have to kind of go to yourself. And it doesn't matter what reputation they have, or they, you know, oh, he's going to be the greatest player, this and that. Have they delivered for you? Can they deliver for you now?
And do you?
If they can't, they got to go.
And like, for example, even like Trossard.
Then you have the sell-on. That's the protection of a sell-on.
Correct.
That's why they're in place.
Yeah, I think Spurs have been guilty of keeping players for far too long over the period of time, and we're actually doing good business by moving things swiftly along. I think we've almost paid. Well, no, we've definitely paid for Tonali, but you know, we're almost matching balancing the books by selling the likes of like Will Lancashire to, I think he's on to Borough. And some of those youngsters like Vuskovic getting 50 million for him. People that haven't kicked a ball in the Premier League, really, you know, and Spurs need to worry about players that know how to play.
Listen,
at tenacity and pace of the Premier League.
Okay, you can go Chelsea. I could name like 10 players who haven't really played, but haven't really lost the valuation because they're so young. And then you look at this new Newcastle model.
Yeah.
Those 4 players, they've signed 20-year-olds. They're not really going to lose the valuation that they are right now, even if they don't play, because the expectation for them is still there. They haven't proved it wrong or right. Does that make sense? They haven't actually they haven't had enough games to warrant, oh, he isn't worth 20 million, he isn't worth 50 million. You don't know. So in a way, you keep valuation of a player these days by actually not playing them sometimes, if that makes sense.
Because you can't see if they're bad or not.
No, exactly. So you can't actually, You can't sort of, well, we paid 50 million for him. Okay, well, he hasn't played, so I'm going to give you 10 million. Oh, no. We want our money back. So then you had this situation where players get stuck as well.
Coming up next, we're going to be crossing the Atlantic to speak to a man who's enjoying his pre-season. Wrexham boss Phil Parkinson joins the show. It's the final word on talkSPORT.
Let's just say something about Tottenham here. It's a big conversation because obviously it's about trophy wins, European Cups, all of those sort of things come into it. But in the modern world, it also comes down to support base. Money is so much involved. And Spurs are a big club, full stop. Of course, we're above someone like West Ham. We have got more support.
He had you above West Ham.
Globally. Well, I know, but he was almost fighting with that. You could also look at a support point of view globally. We would make Chelsea look tiny. They have had more recent success. Facts, they've had more success. But we also got to think about Tottenham history. First team to do a domestic double. First team to win the European Cup. We have history that can't be ignored in the same way that like Aston Villa.
Without being pedantic, people will be shouting at the radio, European Cup, not the European Cup.
You like this one, Pards?
Okay.
You know what it is, didn't you?
No.
The Gorillas. Feel Good Inc. Featuring De La Soul. You know the Gorillas are, don't you?
I know the Gorillas. They're like that animated band.
Yeah, but you know who's
Blur bloke.
Eamon Alburn. That Blur bloke.
Yeah, him. I never liked Blur, really. I was always on the other side.
He was Oasis.
Oasis.
You're mad for it.
Mad for it.
He's mad for it, Pards. This is the final word on talkSPORT with Mad for it, Pards. We're here.
Mad for it.
Yeah, mad for it. We're here till 7 o'clock when Natalie Sawyer is with Greg Rutherford.
Top team.
Yeah,
Good looking team.
Yeah,
Two good looking lads there. Lasses.
Yeah.
Lass and laddie.
So they're going to be on from 7. All things Commonwealth. It's going to be good listening. We are now going to head over the Atlantic because we have got another manager.
Are we playing for this international call?
I hope so. We are joined by the Wrexham gaffer himself. Phil Parkinson joins the show. How are we, Phil?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
We appreciate your time. I know you're on pre-season tour, and you've had an impressive pre-season so far. Last week you beat Man United 1-0 and a victory against Leeds in Tampa yesterday. How's the tour been for you other than those results? Because, of course, managers often play down these results in pre-season.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we played Man U in Helsinki, and it was a really good workout for both teams. And we've come across here, and great experience so far in Tampa. And the game last night was a really good workout for both sides. And yeah, obviously everyone knows results aren't important, but it's still nice to win.
Absolutely.
And I was very pleased with the way we acquitted ourselves against a really good side. And it was a hard game in very humid conditions. You almost have to be here to experience the weather conditions. But I felt the lads have really adapted to it well in the first few days, and it was a good night's work for us.
You're in Tampa, right?
Yeah.
Keith Peacock territory, our old mentor.
Really?
Yeah, that's where he had his little stint back in the first wave of trying to kick it off in America. Yeah.
We're training at they're using their training facility actually, Pards, which has been brilliant. You know, they've really looked after us so well. The pitches are great, the facilities are top class. So yeah, and they've had a lot of good British players over the years.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, obviously, you've had such great success there at Wrexham, and the two owners, obviously, everybody knows in and around what they're about and how brilliant they've been. Are you having to have the cameras all around you again? Have you got another year of closed circuit TV?
Yeah, the documentary's got another 3 seasons. So, yeah, that's been good. I think.
How do you work around that, Phil? How does it? You know, obviously, you're not going to tell us everything, but does it impact on you professionally in any way?
Not really. I think all you can be is just be yourself, and the best thing I can do to tell the story is to get the team to win games of football, and it's about building relationships up with the producers, both over in Wrexham and over here in America. And we've done that, and there's an element of trust between both parties, and we know we've got to give them complete access to be able to tell the story, but also they're very respectful as well. So we've worked together, and the editing and the way they've told the story has been brilliant, in terms of, because that's a great skill, but they're also appreciative that the drama the team's created and the success has obviously impacted greatly on the success of the documentary as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a great watch, and as you say, it's been a big, and you've got a huge fan base there, I understand. I want to ask you then, just on the football front, right? You got this season where you finished 7th, I think 2 points away last year from getting in those playoffs, and we all know that then becomes like an even chance of getting to the Premier League. So you was 2 points away. How are you going to get over the next barrier? Have you got your financial restraints, or what? Can you compete? Are you going to be in and around it again? What is your sort of goals, Phil? Where are you?
I mean, I think last year we made 14 players in, and as you know, Pards, you bring the players in different stages of pre-season. Some deals take longer than others, people moving into the area, and it took us a while to find our feet in the division, and also had players adapting to that. But I feel we've got a better, stronger squad in this pre-season, and it's been great to work with a group so far, which we put together last season. However, I don't feel we're there yet in terms of the squad, and we're not resting on our laurels and thinking, we're 7th, we're just going to naturally progress above that. We've got to work on the recruitment, and we're closing in on our first signing, hopefully this week. And as you know, you've got to be patient in your recruitment, but we still need to strengthen the squad for me to get a real feeling of confidence that we're ready to go and take it the step further. But we've got some good players, and we were close, and obviously it's a very exciting season because it's going to be as competitive as ever.
Absolutely. We mentioned the documentary there, Pards. Phil, the documentary, like you said, has made Wrexham one of the most recognised clubs in world football. How do you stop that from becoming a distraction to the football?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think every chat I have with players coming in, I speak to them about the profile of the club and the documentary, and other kind of experiences the lads have had, being in a Super Bowl advert and things like that. But of course, it's about separating that from the minute everyone steps on the training pitch or on match day, that we're focusing on representing the club in the right way and making sure we remain humble and grounded and ready to work together, because that's what Wrexham is all about. It's a real working class area of people who sacrifice a lot of money to watch us play, and it's very important that we separate but enjoy the kind of experiences the lads have had, but separate that from what's required on a day-to-day basis.
Right, so my question is going to be slightly off-piste, because I want to talk about the World Cup, Phil, a little bit. I don't want you to talk about Thomas Tuchel. I don't want you to go there. I want you to just talk about one thing that disappointed me personally about the World Cup was that I didn't see anything new. There wasn't anything new, like on a coaching level or a team structure, where I thought, wow, that's moved the radar a little bit. Obviously, set plays wasn't really a key feature. What did you take from the World Cup, if anything? Was there anything that sort of stuck in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I was skeptical of 48 team format, and I'd still go back to the 32 teams. However, I felt the games were good, better than I thought they were going to be in the group stages. I think the spectacle of it being over here and the full houses and the stadiums was amazing. But yeah, there was nothing, revolutionary where we thought, wow, we've learned something from a particular formation change or, like you say, set play. From football, people think it changes over the years, but it doesn't as much as people think. The principles remain the same. And yeah, there's different ways of winning games of football, and it's about finding a way with the quality players you've got. And you saw teams punch above the weight in terms of finding a way of playing and a buy-in from the group. And I don't think the game is changing really. It's that's what it's all about. I think more goals kind of as the tournament went on seemed to come from crosses coming in the box, and I don't think that will ever change either. Not from deep, but from good areas. Players making movement in the penalty box. I think in our academies parts, it's almost like stop being coached. That ultimately you need players who are going to get into that 6-yard box and then around it and understand the movement required to score a goal. And still, the teams which are successful have got those players who can produce those moments.
Yeah, great point indeed. We're talking about the World Cup, the States. You're over there in the States. We have to talk about Hollywood for a second quickly because, of course, the Hollywood owners there that you've got at Wrexham. From your point of view, what have Ryan Reynolds and Rob actually done that people don't see?
Well, the key to what they've done is they've trusted people to do the jobs within the football club.
That's good to hear.
And that is a great skill in itself. And they've brought people in, obviously not just myself, Chief Executive, Sean Harvey, Mike Williamson, all the staff, and they've empowered people to do the job. And obviously that doesn't mean they're not engaged. I was on the call earlier with a potential signing and Ryan's tech messaged me, how's it going? They're very engaged and they're interested, but they've trusted people to do the job. And I think that's a great skill. And as me and Al know, that when you're in a football club and people want to micromanage you all the time, it can be difficult to do your job, and you'd rather be judged on being empowered to do the job yourself.
Last one, Phil, from me, and obviously I want to wish you all success for this season and be looking out for you. What's your, where are you personally now? Like, have you had 1,000 games yet, by the way? Are you there?
Yeah, I've done 1,000, but a couple of those seasons were in the National League with Wrexham, so it doesn't officially count with the LMA. So I think I've got about another 40 to go or something. So
amazing.
That's the landmark in it, to get to that 1,000. But
incredible,
to be honest,
mate.
I'm really enjoying being at Wrexham, and how could you not? It's a great club to work for, and I'm enjoying it. I don't know, as you get more experience as a manager, you learn to enjoy the match days more. And, I make sure that you savor those occasions, the big match occasion, savor these pre-season trips. And, I'm trying to do that. But, I'm still enjoying it, Al, and, appreciative also of these opportunities. And I keep reminding the lads, being over here, we fly to New York in a couple of days' time and play at the Yankee Stadium there. And that's, an incredible experience for us all. And we're going to make sure we enjoy that.
Well, if anyone had said to me when we was at Charlton together that you would be working for 2 Hollywood stars, you'd have God knows how many promotions, 1,000 games, and you'll be doing your pre-season in Tampa, I'd have said no chance.
Yeah, well, let me just tell you, I was telling the staff while we were on the trip about when we were at Reading and you were the manager, and we went to Aldershot Army Camp for pre-season for a week. But the difference is there, and we did the assault course, the high rise kind of climbing on ropes and things like that, which was great for team spirit. We're doing like that log carry as a team to build up, team spirit, but so different, but equally that was great memories for that group of players.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Parker.
Phil, good luck, my friend.
Phil Parkinson there, the Wrexham gaffer, who kindly joined us from stateside as Wrexham were on their pre-season tour.
And what a season that's going to be in the Championship, by the way. Not just for Wrexham, but all those clubs. That final push for the Premier League and the reward. That golden fleece that's at the end of the at the end of the journey. is incredible for those clubs, and hopefully for me, I hope Wrexham are a part of that.
Well, talkSPORT's first commentary of the new season will feature Wrexham taking on Middlesbrough as the Carabao Cup kicks off.
We're on vibe with talk.
Absolutely.
We are.
The Carabao Cup kicks off the new campaign on the 7th of August. Right, before the short pause, it's time for a Commonwealth Games update. They're underway in Glasgow, and here's the latest with talkSPORT's John Cushing.
Commonwealth Games update on talkSPORT with the BYD Dolphin Surf, City Smart, Ocean Cool, 100% electric fun.
What a week it's been for Ruben Ward, turning 21 and making history for Team Scotland, winning gold in the men's all-round gymnastics earlier this afternoon. On Friday, when I spoke to him and Scotland had finished 4th in the team, he was in tears, and particularly as well after that accident to his British teammate Gabe Langton. Well done to him. Women's all-round is underway, very early stages. Wales is world champion. Silver medalist Ruby Evans leads after the first rotation. 3 to go. I'm here at the Tollcross swimming pool tonight. After his bronze medal here, we're going to see Adam Ramsey-Peaty in action in the semi-finals of the 50-metre breaststroke, but he'll be up against Philippe Navaki and Sam Williamson again. Luke Greenback carried the flag for Team England. He's the fastest into the men's 200-metre backstroke this evening. There's boxing tonight, loads of it. 4 home nations in action. Nicola Clyde of Northern Ireland already through in her second Commonwealth Games, a unanimous points win for her. Earlier, son of Duke Mackenzie, Ellis Trowbridge of England won on points in the bantamweight. This is the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games. Natalie Sawyer is here from 7, and it's all live on talkSPORT.
Thank you very much, John. Indeed, don't forget the Commonwealth Games is live right after us from 7. But coming up next, we'll be talking about the manager merry-go-round and talking about AJ's return to the ring. This is the final word on talkSPORT.
Left to hide. One man is looking to reinforce his place amongst heavyweight boxing elite. The other is chasing the defiance.
Honestly, they work me hard. And oh my word, Joshua's gone down. First punch of the fight, the Prenger's landed, and Joshua's gone down, and he's taking account. What on earth was that?
And the legs just seem to go a little bit there again from Anthony Joshua.
Another right hand. He's going to go again here, Joshua.
Listen, he must be a devastating puncher because he's just tapped the jaw a couple of times and AJ's feeling that.
There you go, big right hand and Prenger's in trouble.
And he's gone down. Right hand puts Prenger down. And Joshua smiles as much as to say it was always going to happen. And
and it's all over in the second round.
I can't be stopped. I'm not going to be stopped. I'm not going to be denied.
Yo, you hear that? Over, smell the aroma. Them done that already long time.
And that's how it sounded last night on talkSPORT. AJ returning to the ring in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, as he beats Christian Prenga with a knockout. He survived 2 knockdowns, though, early on. But the second round, he took a step forward and knocked him out. Did you see the highlights yet, Pods?
No, I only see the 2 knockouts on TikTok.
The knockdowns or the knockouts?
The knockdowns,
yeah.
beg your pardon. And he didn't. Done well to come back from there.
Listen, AJ has gone through one hell of a lot personally in recent times. And you know what? Being very lucky enough to be close enough to AJ and the camps and stuff, and being involved in the boxing and spending time with him, you know, out in those places. AJ is a top British sportsman. And, you know, we forget, you know, when he beat Klitschko, etc., the love that was being had for him. And I think it can often happen. We see it with even like Lewis Hamilton, etc. Sometimes we can be a bit harsh to some of our biggest...
we're extremely harsh.
For no apparent reason.
It's a British trait. We're good at it.
This is a great story and a great comeback story. AJ...
I mean, that car accident, wow.
Oh, yeah. It's just...
You can't imagine.
Well, you can't. And seeing him speak about the lads post-fight, you could see he was getting emotional. You could see what he meant to him. One of my lads were there doing the DJing, because obviously it's festival season, so difficult for me. I couldn't make it out there. And you could see his reaction to when he won, what it meant to him. And, you know, this is a gold medalist for Britain.
Yeah, did Barry Owen say something about Eddie Owen, sorry, like he had fractured ribs, like 17 fractured ribs, was it?
What, from the
17 fractures in his ribs.
Oh, after
that.
that accident, yeah, no, the comeback has been incredible. So
a cracked rib, you know all about it, let me tell you.
Oh, I know. For a long time, you can't barely breathe.
Can't breathe, yeah.
So, yeah, it was impressive to see him get the power. You know, once he got back into his rhythm, he looked good.
And then it looks like we're going to announce the fight, don't they?
This is
the fight.
We've been waiting for it. British
London, New York. I see New York mentioned this morning.
AJ and Tyson Fury. Two of our greats, and they need to be celebrated like that. And, of course, you know...
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
It could be. Me working with Tyson over all these years, obviously I love Ty, but I have so much love and respect for AJ as well. Top guy,
you know,
top
like,
professional.
When we cut through it all, you know, let's move on 8 months, right?
Yeah.
They fight. Who will win, in your opinion? I'm not even going to give you my opinion. Who do you think will win?
I couldn't give you an answer right now.
So
it's that difficult.
You're keeping a foot in both camps.
No, it's just that difficult because I think both fighters
could warrant the win.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and
okay.
depending on the night and how it goes and how the you know who comes out. Heavyweight boxing as a sport is just so hard to call. You know, it's dangerous.
Tyson struggled a little bit, didn't he? With a guy the other day.
In Thailand?
Yeah.
Again, with Tyson, he's the type of person that can just turn it on and off as when he wants. Yeah, he's that good, you know. And again, it won't go away, this discussion between AJ and Tyson Fury, because for the last 10 years, they're the names that have dominated British world heavyweight boxing. And we've had him, and obviously Uzik's been in the mix of late, and he's been brilliant, isn't he? He's so fun, Uzik. You've seen him go, when AJ United, we go to the disco. I beat that, doof, doof, doof. I was like, yeah, Uzik, you can come with me, mate. I love it. Listen, it was great to see. The end of the day, just a bit like football, you know, like seeing Messi and Ronaldo and those kind of guys at this World Cup. That's what this is in boxing, and we need that fight to go out.
Yeah, and I think it will go ahead, which I hope it does for everybody involved. It'd be great, and also for the British public. We'll go back to Usyk. Because there's like noises that he's getting near the end.
Oh well, he's
would he take the winner of that? Do you think? Or
I'm not sure. I think he's done so much. He just proved himself to be a generational great.
Yeah,
he has it. He wants to go to Ibiza with.
Is he unbeaten, by the way?
Yeah, he might be. Yeah, he's unbeaten. Unified, undisputed, unbeaten.
And he was at a weight level below, wasn't he?
He wants to go Ibiza with Terence Crawford, Canelo, and AJ, and us, and Pards and Madge. It'd be good, wouldn't it? But yeah, listen,
we need to get a yacht, mate.
Tell you what, I'm really excited about though.
Go on,
Moses Hatoma.
Oh,
in August, the boy.
He's the boy,
and against Hrgovic as well. That is going to be, you know, the big one that we're going to see really where Moses is at, because we all know where he's at, like in terms of what we think. Him against Hrgovic. Can't wait for that.
What date's that?
Saturday, 29th of August.
Are you doing the ring?
Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Ibiza. So one of the lads will be there for me.
Come on, man.
I'm in Ibiza. Don't put these big bouts on big Ibiza weekends.
Listen, when the big bouts are on, mate, you got to say to Ibiza, sorry, guys. I know I signed the contract and all that, but I'm at the big bout.
But they say to me, Madman, we need you in Ibiza.
got to bring the numbers in.
Yeah, exactly. AJ Tyson Fury, that's the fight, people. Again, I know from the purist side of boxing, and I consider myself someone in the middle of a casual and a purist, right? And, you know, they'll be like, oh, yeah, but this fight, it's kind of done now. But the world, especially the British public, they want to see that fight. It needs to be in Wembley for me. And hopefully we get to see it.
Well, if it's on, talkSPORT will be there.
Of course. And then we'll be doing the great coverage of it because our boxing team are second to none.
And we will be picking the bones out of it on our Sunday show after that fight.
After we're there in flesh.
We'll probably do the music. I might come and do
I'll get you ringside.
Yeah.
Go ringside, yeah.
I might get the cans on.
I like it.
Do a couple of tracks. Yeah.
Right, quickly before we leave for the Commonwealth Games. Not that we're taking part in the Commonwealth Games, but they're on afterwards with Natalie Sawyer
and Greg.
Since we have one of the best Premier League managers in the business alongside me, let's look at some of the manager merry-go-rounds right now. Stuart Maynard sacked by York despite getting promotion to the league last season. Right, that one.
Obviously, something's gone on. That's what's happened there. And usually it's because the owner's ego has got in the way or the manager's ego has got in the way.
Something's happened.
Something has gone on.
Something's gone on.
We had the Defoe situation as well, didn't we? With Woking and that nasty thing said. Why air it in public? Like, you know, just, okay, it didn't work out. Jermaine goes, why start banging out these statements? It's not necessary. Statement they put out about Jermaine was poor.
Oh, they did one?
Yeah, they did one after, and Jermaine perhaps shouldn't have said anything. Just like, it hasn't worked out.
Hey.
Sometimes you just leave it.
We back JD on this show. He's my guy.
Jermaine is an ex-player of mine.
Yeah, I love him.
We love Jermaine.
Klopp takes the Germany job whilst Pep says no to Italy.
Yeah.
Interesting, that.
Yeah, I didn't expect Pep to take that job.
Doesn't need to.
Well, he needs a year out. I mean,
and
come
again,
on. He needs a rest. Let him have a rest. Well, last time he had a rest, he walked around New York for a year, then he enjoyed himself.
Yeah.
Restaurants and baseball games, etc., etc. I think he'll do the same.
Yeah, why not? He deserves it.
Yeah.
And Pards, would you go into international management?
International management, yeah. I'd like to sense that. That would be all right. I think it's a good job.
Get me in as the number 3.
4.
Number 4. I'll take 4.
I'll take 4.
Pards, brilliant.
You mean charge of nutrition? Because you're good at nutrition.
Apart from following it myself.
And mental issues.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do the psychology. Thanks for all your calls this evening, and thank you to you, Pards, as always.
Thank you, Madge.
The Sports Breakfast Show returns tomorrow from 6 a.m. with Andy Goldstein.
Andy Goldstein in the morning?
In the morning. And former Watford striker Troy Deeney.
Wow. They're usually PM people.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, it'd be nice to see them in. There must be an hotel tonight getting ready.
But if you need some music in your life, swipe across the Virgin Radio on the talkSPORT app. Over on talkSPORT 2, there's live coverage of World Match Play Darts with teenage sensation Luke Littler facing Gerwyn Price. Big match. But coming up next this time, we head to Glasgow as the evening action in the Commonwealth Game gets underway on talkSPORT. From me, Madge and Pards.
It's a very good night.
if Arsenal,
Chelsea can't win a league.
If Arsenal don't win it, I think Chelsea, with Xabi Alonso,
No.
Chelsea need to be one of the teams dreaming. One of the teams, look, a front line of Pedro, Esteval, Palmer, Rodgers is capable of scoring enough goals to win a league. If we now bring in Lacroix, bring in John Stones, sign a new goalkeeper, all of a sudden you're looking at a team with one game to play a week. You're looking